Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, not Thursday. We went back in a bit of a time warp this week. It's Friday. It is May the, what is this, the 11th, I think, today?
The 11th.
Okay, so all right, we were in the right ballpark. 2018. And welcome back to another, Technical Alpha podcast. Sorry for those who watch this live, and for those who listen on YouTube and everywhere else. Yesterday, you might even hear it in my voice, I don't know, but yesterday, my throat was way too sore to do this. I got hit out of, like, RKO'd out of fucking nowhere on, like, Wednesday. I was sitting down, I was streaming, and, here, let me just go over to this appropriate screen here before I forget about that. I was streaming, and I had my Timmies in front of me, and it was delicious, and I had one of those frozen lemonades, because it was kind of a warm day, and it was amazing, and then inside of, 5 minutes of finishing my frozen lemonade, my throat felt like I hadn't drank water or any other liquid in about 5 years. Just bone dry, Sahara Desert. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, because it happened like somebody flicked on a switch, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a little odd. Maybe it was like the lemon syrup in the lemonade just dried my throat out or something. So I didn't think anything of it. I went about my business, and then by the time it was like midnight and it still felt the same, I was like, I'm gonna get fucked. And here it comes. Because for me, whenever I get sick, it doesn't matter what kind of illness, sore throat is always first wave. It is the first on the scene, the first responder, and as soon as I have that, I know I'm in for like a fucking roller coaster for like the next few days. So yesterday, I thought maybe, because it wasn't too bad, but when I woke up the next day, it was a no go. I just slept on the couch for like 4 or 5 hours, just didn't do shit all Thursday. Today, I'm feeling a little bit better. I knocked myself out with a bunch of pills last night, as any self-respecting human being would do, and got to go watch Infinity War in time so that we could talk about it this evening. Yes. I want to tell you that it was an experience where my eyes were like, I don't know if anyone else is like this when they have like a cold or a flu, but your eyes obviously are a little bit more tired than usual, but like I find it harder to focus and shit. Like on things, and so we went to the 3D version today. Oh, so God. I was fucked watching the movie, and most of it wasn't too bad because it's not like a super heavy 3D. Movie.
It still was a lot. Like I ended up when I watched it the second time, I explicitly went to a not 3D version.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes that were like real heavy. Like so, the one that really got me wasn't actually the movie, and it's the one that gets me every time. Anyway, oh yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Before we say anything, for anyone listening, we are probably going to end up having some spoilers for Avengers Infinity War.
Yes, when we talk to
we'll give you warnings, but if you haven't seen it already, just be aware.
Just be aware that at the end of this bad boy, there might be a few. But yes, the thing that doesn't get me, the thing that's at IMAX, and I don't know if you guys in the States might have the same thing or whatever, but Jeff, you would know what I'm talking about. The countdown sequence.
Oh, God.
Where it does the 10, 9, 8, and it's like the spinning circles and shit. Out of anything that IMAX throws at me in 3D, that fucks my eyes up more than anything else. No movie, no anything else. I can never focus on that countdown. My eyes are fucking doing backflips and shit. One eye's going up, one eye's going down. Fucking just, I look like I got a lazy eye and shit. It's terrible. And a couple of scenes in the movie did that to me today, but I got through it, and we'll talk more about Infinity War at the end of the podcast. But gentlemen, how are you doing today, Mr. Panic? How are you this evening?
Doing all right. A little bummed that the podcast is today instead of yesterday. I got a flight bright and early at like 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh yes.
To LA, so I'll be a little busy with that. My brother also got me this bad boy, which the Oculus
mask.
Go. It's the Oculus Go, and honestly, it's actually one of the better VR headsets I've used. Like the screen and everything actually is better than the freaking full size Vive I have. I'm gonna try that out on the plane, maybe watch a movie, check it out.
Fantastic. Yeah, those are fancy little. That's like brand new too.
My brother works at Facebook, so he ended up he tried it out, and then he's like, I think you'd like it, so he bought me one. So I was like, sweet.
Well, you'll have to let us know after you've used it
on a flight or something,
and something. Let us know how that goes. Mr. Black, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Just same old same. Retro season is upon us now, so I'll be going to yard sales first thing in the morning. And I'm also going to be going to LA next month. I got invited by EA. I can't really talk about it because I'm under NDAs, but they're not doing E3. They do a different thing, and they're flying me out, and I guess I'll be able to tell you guys more about that later. Yesterday, so yeah.
Amazing. Sounds good. Fancy.
But yeah, besides that, my day is just it's
another day.
It's just another day.
It's another day. You're always so excited when we first start this podcast. It's another day. I woke up. I ate food. I looked outside. I lamented the sky and said, "Fuck it. Why am I still here?"
Yeah.
You're not even going to like an office or some shit. You're just waking up and you're like, oh, what do I do today? Like there are people getting out of bed with like coffee.
Yeah, I know.
Looking out the window going,
That's the worst part about my life right now, man. Life for me this year has been a struggle, like almost on a daily basis. I've had some sunshine sprinkled through there where I'm just like, you
need some office work is what you're telling me.
Holy fuck, man. It's like you wake up and it's like, Jesus.
I should probably
What am I going to do? Like, it's fucking weird, dude. Anyway,
you'll get there.
I'm like thankful for this podcast, man. It's like shit. This needs to be
some
like
structure.
3 days a week.
Well, I mean, if you get bored, E3's coming up, and we're gonna have lots of coverage.
Structure. Every other week we've been moving.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Well, no, we haven't been moving anywhere. It's been the same day. Just you haven't been here a couple of weeks. This is our first move in a long time.
No, you guys were on Wednesday for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's right, because of the Infinity War release and all that stuff. I feel like we just end up both times. So we started on Fridays, and then we discovered that was a terrible idea, and then we managed to go with Thursday, which still somehow manages to fuck everything up.
Thursday's not that bad.
Thursday's not bad. Not
it's
as
just
bad
the
as
time
Fridays.
slot.
Yeah.
I think the time slot itself, because with releases like movie releases for Jeff, it ends up being kind of awkward. So, oh no, whatever. I should be careful with how much like of my usual grumbly shit I do, or I'm going to be right back in Sour City tonight, popping fisherman friends and shit, trying to keep myself going. So this week, full disclosure, I spent 5 minutes before this podcast started going through the news to catch a couple of things outside of what I caught during the week, because there was really only a couple of like major events that I caught during the week. So if you gentlemen somehow managed to have something to add to the list that we have here, then by all means, hit me up. Panic, they're coming for you. They found you.
You guys can actually hear that?
I can.
Yeah.
Not much I can do. That's actually right outside my window.
That's all right. They'll eventually, run him down. They'll find out if he's black. They'll decide whether or not to use a shotgun, and it'll be fine. So Sony announces major titles it will be showcasing at E3. I can't. Maybe I'm just having like a poor memory or something, but I can't remember the last time a company actually outright listed the major titles that they were going to be showing off during their E3 conference. Usually they keep that closer to the chest. Maybe that, I mean, I'm sure they still have like a surprise or two. They gotta have like some sort of like jazz hand moment in the conference. Yeah, like some dude in a suit coming out like, "Hello, fellow children." Like you gotta have like that moment. But yeah, they announced it, and of all the games on here, they were pretty much games that I expected to see. One of them, I don't even think I've heard the name of yet. Maybe I just forget it from having it been announced like ages ago. Yeah, Jeff's already highlighting the one that I don't know. Everyone's highlighting the same game now. Like, what is this game? Jeff, you can let me know. You look that up. I'll go over the rest of the list, and then you can fill us in on what the fuck that is.
It reminded me of the samurai. Yeah, exactly. It's a samurai game.
Ghost of Sashimi.
Yeah, that's the samurai game. I've got a few of them. I think for PS2 on the wall somewhere. One sec. You do your thing.
This actually looks like, at least just by the cover art, it's called Ghost of Tsushima, by the way, not Sashimi.
Okay.
But it actually looks pretty edgy. Like it looks like a dark and gritty like samurai game. And it could be actually interesting depending on how they come out with it.
All right. Are we saying that it's leaning towards
What's like Samurai Dark Souls?
What's the one that is Samurai Dark Souls? Oh my God, how can I not think of this game right now?
You're the Dark Souls guy, not me. I don't play any of them.
What?
I know a Neo.
Thank you. That's the one.
Is
it like that? Is it like a Neo or?
I mean, I'm doing the announce. I'm looking at the announce trailer real quick.
Okay. All right. How many samurais are involved right now? Many samurais or one samurai?
I don't know.
There's no gameplay in this trailer.
Perfect. But so Jeff, do you think
it's the Lily Pond?
Are you saying that you think it's an extension of games that you have or like older games?
Yeah, I could have sworn there was already like 3 of them out, but maybe I'm thinking of a different franchise.
All right, so what I'm seeing here, it's an open world action game.
Okay.
It's developed by Sucker Punch, who did Infamous.
Okay.
It's set during the first Mongol invasion of 1274 in Japan.
Okay.
Which was a particularly brutal war, if I remember correctly.
So are we does it look like Onimusha? Is that a game that you would recognize from days gone by, Panic?
Oh, Onimusha was good stuff. That was on Dreamcast and stuff too, wasn't it? And it was like one of the first PS2 games.
Xbox as well, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. They don't have much in terms of gameplay footage from the links I'm looking at, so I don't know.
Oh, it's just a whole whack of like trailer. Well, maybe we're gonna see gameplay at E3. Maybe that's what
trailer
they're gonna
cinematic
have.
stuff. But it looks very It looks like it's more going towards a realistic slant, though.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since, other than Neo, it's been a hot minute since we've gotten some good samurai action. And who doesn't like a good samurai game? I mean, that shit's almost always a good time. Look, as long as it's not zombies, I'm happy. Just give me something other than
fresh.
Zombies. Yeah.
Hell, give me good World War II games again. I'll play those again with better graphics.
We're getting there. Maybe we're getting there. We talked about that last week. Maybe we are going to get a little bit of that. If we
give me some good historical
right.
fiction that's not actually like Battlefield 1 fiction, and we'll be good.
yeah. The World War II in Battlefield 1 could not have been in heavier quotation marks if you fucking tried. Just like 1,000 quotation marks were going around.
My fingers are breaking.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a workout. So other than that, that was Ghosts of Tsushima. We're looking at Death Stranding, which is that Kojima title, with the dude who plays what's his face from The Walking Dead, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus. That's the name, I think. Yeah.
Ooh,
Daryl, that's it. Norman? Where did I get Norman from?
No, Norman Reedus is his name.
Is it?
Yeah, but Daryl's
his name. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that wacky combo. And honest to God, I think my favorite part about the development of this game is just watching Kojima's social media account as he and Norman just go around being like bro love,
more
just between two guys. Just it's good shit. It's like a really weird, obtuse version of Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen. This is basically like that kind of bromance, but like this really weird East meets West biker guy, eclectic Japanese game developer thing.
You want to know out of this list what I'm actually kind of excited for? They've had some more stuff come out for Spider-Man, and it actually looks really. It's like growing on me.
How did you get so quiet all of a sudden? I had to turn you down, and now I had to crank you back up.
Skype's been adjusting my shit, so I just like locked it.
Ah, very good. Lock it a little higher if you can.
All right, we should be good now.
There you go. Beautiful. Yeah, there you go. All right, beautiful.
Yeah,
So what were you saying there before?
Spider-Man. It's actually growing on me a lot more from what I've
Yes.
been seeing. They freaking have like Negative Man or Mirror Man or whatever he's called.
Okay.
And stuff. It looks sick. So I'm like, they're getting some of the other villains involved. So I'm actually kind of, if it's going with the whole open world vibe and more villains involved, I'm like, I think I might dig it a lot more. So I might actually pick it up.
Yeah. Well,
we were kind of on the fence on it when they showed it at E3 last year as one more thing, but like it's growing on me the more I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I know. For me, I need to see. I haven't watched a lot of whatever they would have released. I'll be waiting for whatever they have for E3 because I think I imagine if it's in this list, which it is, it's probably going to get a relatively extensive gameplay segment, and so. I'll wait and see what they've got at E3, because whatever they have at E3 is probably going to be more polished than whatever else that they've got out in the wild right now. But I mean, it does look like, from what we've seen, it does look like a good game for sure, especially if you've been into the Batman series of combat style and whatnot, because it kind of looks like a rift on that.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man kind of did that whole. They like the original, like when the original Spider-Man movies came out, they had corresponding games that came out with them, and they were open world web slinging type games, and they were really good.
Yeah, there were a couple that were actually like surprisingly good that took people kind of by surprise.
I love those games, so they were, and those were out before Arkham was even a thing. So like, I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man as being like kind of the pioneer on that one, and Batman kind of one-upped him a bit. But
Mr. Black, I know out of all the three of us, was I think the most intrigued by Spider-Man.
Yes.
When we saw it at E3. So are you looking forward to seeing what they've got this year for E3 on that game now?
I wouldn't say I'm excited.
Interested, mildly. It gets you, a half. You're not all the way there.
Mildly interested. I mean, if they're okay, out of the slate of things I want to see,
it's like a 5-degree incline.
It's more on the upper end of things that I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll check this out.
You're not lifting the table, but it's a little harder to take a piss in the morning. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. It doesn't look. It never looked bad. I always thought it looked pretty good. So I mean, I've been sold on it for a while. So, so I'm not going to go out and buy it by any means, but I mean, I'm sold on it looking good, and it's going to do well. And I know they have like a Spider-Man PS4 edition that's coming out. That's all red, and it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw pictures of that. It looks really, really cool.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, it's like a limited edition release. It's got like the big Spider-Man logo and the whole system's red.
Is this game going out alongside or in the neighborhood of a movie?
Homecoming 2 isn't coming out until next year.
Okay.
So.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they were trying to like, or maybe
It's
they're
2
using the
months
game
after
as like
Avengers.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Do we know? Do we have a release date on the game?
On the game, I don't know about the game.
I thought it was like in December this year.
Okay, well, I'm just thinking maybe
we'll find out. It might be late.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. But odds are, if it's not going near the movie, it's. I mean, that's not that far out. I mean, you could use it as like a bridge the gap, I guess, advertising wise, before the movie comes up. But anyway, there's that, and then there's Last of Us Part 2, which I'm sure a great number of people are waiting very patiently to see more of after we had the little trailer last E3 for that. Last of Us is obviously it's another Naughty Dog game, so that means by default it's going to be good. Unless something catastrophic in development happens, it's going to be good. I mean, The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us, as time has gone on, I think The Last of Us has outshone the Uncharted series.
Well, Uncharted as a studio group, they lost a bunch of people to they lost a bunch of people to other groups, so
Yeah.
it's they've been hemorrhaging some people. So Uncharted's kind of become a little bit formulaic, especially with what on Uncharted 4 or 5 now.
Several.
Yeah,
They're deep.
Yeah,
They're
so
deep.
it's a lot harder for them to retain talent because people are like, oh, we want to do something new, we want to do something else, so they move on. They lost a lot of people to the Star Wars games that ended up bombing out, so we'll be interested to where they end up.
Yeah, for sure. I think I remember when they were talking last about, this was before the release of, or shortly thereafter, the last Uncharted game, and they were talking about how difficult the development process was for that game specifically, and that it was just starting to get a bit, I don't know if laborious is the right term to use for it, but like it's the series is getting tired, and
you lose some of the
yeah.
excitement of doing it because it's like you can only push the envelope on a set of characters so far before you jump the shark.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
actually, Saints Row is like a big example of that. The first 2 Saints Row games were like moderately serious with tongue-in-cheek comedy, and the third one just went ridiculous.
They jumped the dildo.
And then the 4th one, they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just throw out everything and just go nuts."
Yeah. Then that was yeah. It's bad. So that's Sony. That's Sony. Most of the news outside of what this next thing I'm about to talk about has been.
Big thing happened today.
Oh, what's that? What's that then? What do you got?
Our good friend Michael Pachter over at
Whoa!
he came out with another wonderfully insightful analysis.
Is Mikey experiencing a renaissance? Is that happening
No,
right
this
now?
was that was sarcasm on my part.
No, I haven't heard his name so frequently since like 2000 and like fucking 11. He's coming back.
GameStop's CEO
Okay.
abruptly resigned after being on the job for 3 months.
Okay, that's not good.
And Michael Pachter's wonderful insight was, investors like stability in their companies, and this will definitely be a shock to their system.
Thank you, Michael Pachter.
But yeah, no, it was actually a little bit surprising because GameStop actually let go like their CFO and COO like a couple of months ago, like not even further back, like a couple like last year towards the end. And then this guy took over as CEO, and then for nothing other than stated personal reasons, he straight up just peaced out. Like, I think it was either yesterday or today.
Personal reasons sounds like I don't want to get my career destroyed by this company while I'm still here, so I'm gonna get out before this shit gets public.
So like, yeah, and it's been like, I'm just like, GameStop hasn't been doing terribly, but they haven't been doing great. So I'm curious now.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's not good. If your CEO just up and leaves and he's only been there for like 9 weeks and he doesn't really say anything outside of
He's
like,
like,
yeah, I've got this family thing.
Bye guys, gotta go.
It's a reunion. It only happens once every 20 years. And I can't be here. I just can't be committed. So I gotta get the fuck out of here. Peace.
The reunion's only gonna be a couple of days. No, I'm out, guys.
Look, we all know what the real reason is why they're leaving. It's because Jeff found that copy of that game for more than it was supposed to be, or less than it was supposed to be. And we broke
Jeff,
that.
Did you put fucking GameStop out of business?
We broke that
down,
news.
I took him down. Resident
damn it,
Evil
Jeff.
Revelations took him down by $10.
The straw
Where
that
else?
broke the
Where
camel's
else?
back.
Where else am I gonna get 3 cents for my entire retro video game collection, Jeff? All right.
I brought in some Xbox 360 games and Xbox One games, a couple PS4 games, because I'm cleaning the house out for moving, whatever.
It didn't pay for your gas, did it?
I just like, first of all, the guy looked at me. I had a bunch of like steel books and like collector's editions or whatever, right? And the guy looked at me. He was like, "All right, first of all, I'm just gonna put all these aside because you don't want to sell these here because we treat them the same as a regular ass game. So sell them somewhere else." And he gave me like names of places in the city to like sell them,
actually give you money
versus there. I was like, all right, cool. And then the rest of it, he started counting them up, and he told me the total. And I don't know how he went through like 30 fucking games or some shit. And he was like, that'll be $54. I was like, oh, good, awesome. And the weirdest thing was, of all the games, outside of some sports titles that they just, sports titles get too old and they just don't take them anymore. A surprising, for whatever reason, they don't take the Wii U version of Bayonetta 2.
What?
Which is like the only reason to own a Wii U at this point, because it's one of the few things I think that hasn't made its way over to the Switch yet, is Bayonetta 2. But he was like, he held it in his hand and he was like, that's kind of weird, but we don't we don't take this.
GameStop had a bunch of heat on them in the retro video game community. I don't know if I talked about that before, but they
Hit us.
yeah, so they take retro video games, obviously. And so, when people are clean, like when I go yard sailing tomorrow, like it's springtime, so people are cleaning out their garages, their attics, people are moving, and they come across these old retro games, and some people will take them to like, Value Village or a thrift store and just give them out, or they'll sell them at a yard sale or put them on Kijiji or Facebook group. And some people take them to GameStop, right? And they're like, oh, I wonder if I can get some money for this. Number one, GameStop doesn't really pay much at all for retro video games.
Pennies.
You get nothing. You get just a little bit more than giving it away for free at a thrift store. And the retro community was super pissed and still is mad because an ex-employee, I was just reading this like 2 weeks ago, an ex-employee of GameStop actually was a manager at one of the GameStops. He wanted to remain anonymous, obviously, because he's just like airing out a whole bunch of shit that they do. So when people bring in games, they test the games. So they'll put them in, they'll see if they work or they see if they don't. A lot of the time, and the reason why in retro world there's a lot of dumpster divers that'll go to like GameStops, go through their garbage, grab like big posters, like cutouts. They'll grab cases and they'll grab whatever they can because GameStop throws out a shit ton of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And what he said, his aerial manager told them that they had to do, and they do this not only for newer games but also for the retro, is when somebody brings it in, they don't test them on the spot. So like if you went in
like 4 hours later.
Yeah, it's like if you went in with you found a whole bunch of Super Nintendo shit, you went there, they're like, yeah, here, we'll give you $30 or $50 store credit. They'll take it. They don't have a Super Nintendo hooked up. They're not going to do any of that stuff. Some stores do it, and then sometimes they have to send it out to like a warehouse, and then they do all the testing there, and then they ship the games out to the different stores that they need the games. So they what they do for the retro stuff that really pissed off the retro community is when they get the retro games, they'll test them. If they don't work, they throw them out. So they just assume that they're broken, right? Because it's like a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. But 9 times out of 10, actually 98 times out of 100, they just need to be cleaned. So you just need to clean you see it all the time when Adam's over and we're
rubbing
like
alcohol or whatever.
Rubbing alcohol. Sometimes
out.
you have to open the game up on an extreme case, but a lot of times just rubbing alcohol and whatever. Also, they don't check the boards to see if they are repos or not. So what a lot of
What's
people
a repo?
Reproduction carts.
Are those like
Fakes.
Oh, okay, yeah, bootlegs. Okay.
So what a lot of people were doing is they're ordering a bunch of games on the Chinese market, bringing them in that look very similar to the real thing. Like to a retro collector, you're gonna know it's a bootleg just by looking at the label.
Yeah, Pokemon cartridges that'll just say game versus Game Boy.
Exactly. But regular Joes at GameStop that don't give a fuck about their job, that don't care, they just take them. So people will spend $2 on a $30 game. They'll trade it into GameStop. Then GameStop will sell it like it's an original because they're not looking to see. So people are buying repos from GameStop. Also, what a lot of people are doing is they're buying legit copies and then they're switching out the boards and they're basically stealing the games, and then they're returning the games, telling them that they don't work. Then when they don't work, they don't even check. So whenever there's a refund, this is what the guy was saying, whenever there is a refund for a retro video game, because it wasn't disc-based where they just throw it in at the store to see if it's working, they check, they literally just destroy them. So they take the game, and he said the aerial manager legitimately told them, you have to destroy the stuff. You can't even just put it in the garbage. It's like working at a restaurant, and at the end of the day, there's a whole bunch of food left. You can't take it home. You have to throw it out, because then the people think that you're purposely overcooking to take stuff home, right? Because then it's like stealing. So even if there's food at the end of a shift, you physically have to throw it out. Nobody can take it home. It's the same thing with the retro stuff. So the retro community is losing their mind because the games are already rare, right? And people, there's only so much of this shit out there, and GameStop doesn't care. So they'll literally take a hammer and they'll smash the carts. They'll just break them and they'll throw them in the garbage. So people are just fucking losing their minds. So when this article came out, it was like all over Reddit and stuff. And then there was like, I was watching some podcasts about it. People were starting to go crazy, and then GameStop was under a whole lot of heat about what was going on. And then also, when you order stuff, because you can order retro games online on GameStop as well. So
like what some games are huge for that.
So what they also, some stores are doing now, not all of them. It's like a crapshoot. What some stores are doing, and this guy in particular, is when people go in, they trade in. Imagine going in and trading in 20 box games of Super Nintendo. You found it, you're like, yeah, fuck it. They give you the same amount of money for a complete in box game as just a
cartridge.
Just a cart. They don't care. But also what they do to save inventory space is they throw out all the boxes.
Oh, why?
So the cart, the manual and the box, they'll destroy and they'll throw out in the garbage because it takes up too much space. Same with like a lot of Nintendo 3DS games. They'll only keep the game. They'll throw out they'll smash the casing and stuff because it's taking up too much
it's like
inventory
the kid
space.
who buys that collectible action figure and then instantly busts it out of the packaging.
Yeah,
and just chucks everything.
Because they don't care. Now since people found out they were doing that, GameStop apparently, when you're buying it online, sometimes you get a complete in box game. They don't tell you. So it depending on what store it came from, what
how
branch
lucky you are, yeah.
You could hit the jackpot. So like some people will buy some rare games on GameStop on the website just to see if they get lucky that it comes with the box and manual. And if not, they'll go and return it back to GameStop, and then GameStop will destroy the game if they tell them that it doesn't work. So yeah, I was just reading up all this shit about what GameStop was doing. The retro community world fucking hates them. Like legit, like literally wants to kill GameStop. Like it's basically sending your games to die at GameStop.
When I went, because it's like I've had generally good experiences with them. So, but not on the retro side. Like when I went to trade in my Xbox One and everything, because I was just sick of it. I went with my Xbox One, 360, all the games, and I went to trade it in. I was going to get a PS4. I got an okay amount of money. But what happened was the guy was like, look, I'll cut you a deal. If you buy 3 like new in-box games, I'll give you a better deal on the PS4. He's like, I have an open box PS4 Pro that was just returned, and we haven't put it into the system yet. We'll give you the full trade-in plus, if you buy the 3 new in-box games, sign up for the membership, and you'll walk out of here with it for like $200. And that's like, okay.
Yeah,
I ended up saving a couple.
It has its purposes. Like
they have some deals,
like,
but at the same time, yeah.
When I buy out big collections and stuff, I'll take like a lot of my PS3. Like I traded in like 90 PS3 games, and I got like a few $100, which you'd never really get anywhere else. Like especially with Wii, like if you have Mario World for the Wii, the Mario Bros.
Newer big title stuff, you'll usually
like Mario Kart and stuff. They'll give you like $20-$25 for those hot sellers, even on the regular Wii, because they sell so fast.
My old school 360 games got me a decent clip too. I was surprised. My Xbox One games were okay, but the 360 ones, some of them gave me like my Halo copies got me pretty good returns.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to throw that in there. Just
yeah, that's not. I mean,
from what I heard, with
it's not shocking. It's shit for sure.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird to me that. Well, I guess it's not. I don't know. I mean, I guess GameStop is in like this really shitty situation where I'm going to assume that financially speaking, they have been on the ropes now for a really long time.
I think why.
And so, like, I guess in a perfect world, when they start receiving these retro games, I guess the 2 options that are available to them are 1, just don't take them anymore. But then they axe a source of revenue that they desperately fucking need. And 2, they come up with a better program for how to deal with retro games, with the boxes and everything else, and the controllers and the systems or whatever they're going to try and sell. But that takes money that they probably don't have. So like I could, it is super shitty. And like you'd almost want them to just not take the games and be like, guys, just go take your retro shit to local stores or other places that are going to keep, you know, the boxes and everything together, or just don't bring them here. But I'm guessing that they are, and will continue to clamor for revenue in any place that they could possibly get it. Yeah. Especially since they just fired basically their entire administrative, you know, head.
The current person who took over is one of the actual original co-founders of the company and chairman of the board. So he took over as CEO for now.
Oh my
until
lord!
They figure out what to do.
Yeah,
that guy's probably like, I was not wanting to do this, but apparently, I guess I have to.
I don't envy anyone that has to try and take over that position, because that company has been. I mean, you walk into a store and they've pretty much converted it into.
They have
a
like
bunch
cell
of
phones and shit now.
Yeah, like here's a bunch of random assorted, you know, video game related stuff, and then oh yeah, we still kind of carry video games if you come here. So you know, there's that. Welcome to GameSpot, or GameStop, I should say. Yeah. With that being said, and there is a segue here, and that all originally spun out of selling off some older stuff. Nintendo axes officially the Virtual Console. That is never coming to the Switch. Period. Full stop.
Now, axe shut off or axe never coming to Switch? Those are different things.
Never coming to Switch. But we don't.
I got that shit on my 3DS.
We don't know how far the dong reaches yet. We don't know how far reaching it is at this time. But we might maybe have some ideas based on some other plays that they made this week. So Virtual Console is just not coming to the Switch, mostly because Nintendo hates making the easiest money. They have to do it in the most obtuse fucking random ways possible. They have to reinvent the wheel, and then they feel good about it. They're like, okay, we made our money by creating this hybrid console, but fuck putting the Virtual Console on it, which would be like the easiest choice ever.
Each of these steps is folding the steel, okay? They have to fold the steel every time.
Glorious Nippon steel, huh?
Nippon software. They had to
Nippon
fold the
software.
Code. Fold the code.
So they basically axed that. So what's the replacement that you're going to get on the Switch is that if you sign up for and take part in what I think is live as of maybe today, or it's close to being a thing anyway, as their online service is no longer free. You're in the pay to play service now or shortly, and it's like it's pretty cheap. I mean, in Canada I think it's $30, in the States $20 or something like that. And the idea is for the older games is that they have selected games, and they've added things like online multiplayer or whatever to them, you know, sprucing them up, doing whatever the fuck they want to do to these retro games, and making them available to those who pay for their service. And that's about it. Understandably, that is a much shorter list than what was previously available, and certainly not what a lot of people were hoping for when it came to Wii U or 3DS owners, whereby many people were hoping, since they've dumped a shitload of money into virtual games on the Virtual Console, maybe Nintendo would perpetuate the service on the Switch, and they could transfer or be able to access the games they've already paid for on the Switch, because honest to God, that just makes fucking sense. But unfortunately, that's not happening. So get fucked for all of you that have paid a good chunk of change for things on the Virtual Console. Hold on to your shit and hope that they don't shut that down or whatever. Or if they do shut it down, make sure that you download all of your games now and then leave it on the hard drive. That's a good idea. You should do that now, because they might do something like this. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze coming out for the Switch. It's another one of those made for Wii U, oh shit, we don't have any games on the Switch, let's bring it over titles. And they removed it just days before, I think like a week or so, the release on the Switch, and by the way, on the Switch, it's a full price game. So here in Canada, it will be $499. In the States, it will be $59. But it's a full price game, so it's a full full shebang. Not really anything added to it. Like I think there was like an easy mode or some stupid whatever, something they tacked on to make it seem like it was totally worth spending full price for a game that came out in 2014. That's been available on the Wii since then. On the Wii U online store, they removed it like 7 days before. You know why? Because it was $20 on the Wii U store, which is a lot less than the $499 Canadian that they're going to be charging for the Switch version. So they want to make sure that if you don't already own this fucking game, and it's out of print as well, in case you're wondering, physically speaking, they to my knowledge, they halted print on that game because again, 2014 here. The only way that they want you to own this game is if you own it on the Switch and you pay full motherfucking price for that bad boy. So if this is an indication of how Nintendo is going to play their cards with the Switch, they're folding the code many times. They're getting rid of what they consider impurities, and by impurities I mean consumer-friendly practices.
That's what the hammer is.
This is probably, I mean, here's my issue with this is that, I mean, I'm never going to play Tropical Freeze. I get zero fucks about Tropical Freeze. It was a good game. It was rated very well when it came out, critically well taken. It sold pretty well on the Wii U, just, whatever. Here's the issue. Everywhere I went when this information was released, the Nintendo fanboyism was fucking real.
I saw that.
If EA did this, or if Bethesda did this, or if BioWare did this, or if Activision did this shit, or literally anyone else, Microsoft, Sony, anything like this, they would be hung out to dry. The internet would find the largest cactus possible and do the do. But with Nintendo, it was, this is just business. You can't expect them, to just, to not be doing this shit. It's just business. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. And just let the shit go. Now, I'm not saying that people need to go out and like boycott games, do whatever the, hippie ass tree hugging shit for video games. I'm not saying you need to do that. But at least in a world where in this industry where people being vocal on social media in negative ways has pretty dramatically changed some of the biggest titles to come out this generation because of companies doing some really stupid shit. Just hold Nintendo's feet to the fire for once. Stop holding them like a child.
I think what it is Nintendo is the Disney of video games, right? And there's when you're a family friendly console, or you're a family friendly movie or production or company, the type of consumer that you have and the type of the way you do business and the way you're perceived is different than some other companies that do it. Nintendo gets a pass a lot of the time is because they have purebred fanboys, and it's, there will be people that'll complain. There'll be a few, but it's going to be so minute in comparison that it doesn't really matter. EA, or really any other company. Fuck Sony.
That's what I'm saying. Like anyone.
I mean, anybody that you can think of. It's not saying that they're bad companies, but they've all had really big missteps, and at certain points where they got caught doing something, or there's controversy around what's going on. Nintendo has always kind of remained in its own bubble, and let these juggernauts, let Microsoft and Sony battle it out. And Nintendo is going, you know what? We're going to stick to our thing. We might not be selling as much, but we got the diehards. And we're cooking, so nobody understands why we do business the way we do. Why are we axing these things when it doesn't need to be axed? Why is there not enough minis being sold or being produced? Why are you doing all these things? And the reality of it is as crazy as their madness is, it works for Nintendo. Because the moment that they start doing the things that other companies are doing, they start to get put into that pool. And they want to stay far away from that as humanly possible. It's like that kid on the neighborhood.
They want to do their own thing all the time.
That does, yeah. That's you got all the kids outside hanging out. Then you've got that fucking kid that never comes out with anybody, doing their own thing, kind of fucking weird. You call them weird because you don't understand them, but really they're in their house like studying their ass off, like they're like an underground fucking champion ping pong player. They're god tier at piano. They're getting ready to get their doctorate. Like, you don't know what you don't know what the hell's going on in there, but they're cooking something. They know what they're doing. They don't care about the noise. They don't care about it.
You went with every Asian stereotype that you could have possibly fucking come up with.
Yeah, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? They're good at math. You know what I'm saying? They're bad drivers, but who cares? You don't need to be a good driving. But you know what I'm saying? That's Nintendo. And Nintendo gets away with doing these things because everybody's used to Nintendo doing these things. Where it's just like, you know what?
Bethesda gets away with it too, like this. Bethesda is like all their games are broken as shit, and everybody's like, it's Bethesda, it's a feature.
To an extent, Bethesda does, and to an extent, Final Fantasy, it gets away with a lot of murder.
Yeah, I guess.
But the reality of it is Nintendo has just kind of always done what they've done. And I don't know how many episodes of podcasts we've had where you've gone in deep on Nintendo for just doing some of the most ridiculous shit known to man. They just continue to keep doing it. And just when you think they're out, when you think that they fucked up, when you're just like, you're fucking stupid, man. You're getting shit on. They come out with the Switch and they just fucking just run the game again. It's just like they're owning this whole space again. And they had no games. They had nothing going for them. But yet their consoles still sell like motherfucker. Hell, I was on here shitting on the Wii every week wanting to kill myself because all I want to do is talk about Nintendo Switch. Sorry. And look at me. I got a Nintendo Switch in my bedroom on my nightstand that I play on a regular basis. The only thing that I play outside of like work. Streaming. Yeah. It's crazy because whatever
it works, whatever
method
they do.
That they do, and I don't agree with all of it. I really don't. But it's working. So
you want to know what that method is, Jeff?
It's madness. That's what it is.
No, it's not madness. Their shit's just fun.
It is, and it's their titles, their IPs.
Adam, you're a different criteria for judging things.
No, their shit is fun. I'm not gonna sit here and say that Nintendo games are bad for fuck's sake. Nintendo games
they're good.
Are not bad games.
Like Mario is just simple fun.
No, there's nothing. I don't have anything against the games at all. I mean, Nintendo,
just how they're doing things.
Nintendo games is great. And it's not even how Nintendo is doing things. It's how people tend to react to it. I mean, people did negatively react to the Wii U in that it just didn't sell worth a shit. Like, they sold next to zero Wii U's.
They overcomplicated the Wii U. It's like, the Wii sold really well because it was the Wii and it was just a different time back then.
They didn't differentiate the Wii U from the Wii like whatsoever.
Well, that's the problem.
And
that's
so
the problem.
like it just nobody cared.
People that own the Wii is like, why would I buy the Wii? Why would I buy the Wii U when I can play 90% of the big titles on the Wii U right on the Wii? And the Wii U is just more gizmos and gadgets and fucking, you got a tub of different add-ons and shit and put batteries and things and cords and wires. It's an absolute gong show. And that was when I think they go, you know what? Let's take the Wii U thing and turn it into the Switch, which is pretty much what the Switch is, pretty much a Wii U screen thing, but just made a lot better. It was like it was almost like a whole nother concept of the Wii U that actually works. And it was just like we were just ready for it. But the thing is Nintendo, you're not their demographic, right? I'm not really their demographic. Like, sure, we'll play their games, sure, we'll do it, but complaining about their practices on the way, like with the store and shit, there's nobody out there with tiki torches yelling at Nintendo about what they're doing.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because you know what?
That's
They're
what I'm
gonna buy this fucking Donkey
no matter
Kong
what.
game
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the goddamn Switch.
Yes.
It don't matter.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I know it makes you salty, and you're going, people, wake up! Look what they're doing. Wake up!
Just at least say something negative. Don't be like, oh, I can't wait to spend $70 on a game I've already bought.
And the reality of it is they can't wait. They're going, oh, fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love the Donkey Kong thingy. That was awesome. I haven't played this in 4 years. I get to play it on the Switch, and I already own 3 copies of it. I got one digital. I got one on the Wii U. I got it on my 3DS or some shit. Give me a 4th one and charge me double.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Does it come with an amiibo? Can I get an amiibo? Can I get one for $70?
It pisses me off because Nintendo, I get your analogy before. Nintendo is more of the guy that or the girl, and you're in high school or whatever, or just anything in life, and either so at the office space or at school, university, whatever, and there's always this 1 or 2 people, guy or girl, whatever you want to apply this to, and no matter what they do, they just succeed at it, even though they fucking suck at it. Just fucking blow ass, but it doesn't matter.
Those people that fail up.
They stumble, they're just constantly face planted just
Good
every
job.
time. And they get through but they somehow get to the very top. It's like you just magically there's some force guiding their ass through life that just gets them like by, and they're doing nothing. And they know that they're not doing anything. It just happens, and then everyone rallies around them. They're like, yay, whoa, yay! That's Nintendo. Nintendo's just like fucking just, we don't really know what we're doing. We just come up with some crazy shit, and then we just kind of fumble through it, but it doesn't matter because everyone's going to rally around us anyway, and we're going to be fine.
It's just like, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, it's just like how Disney is, right, with Marvel. And it doesn't matter really what rules you break, right? Movie rules or formula in a movie or what characters you may or may not kill off or whatever you want to do, right? You look at something like Star Wars, where Star Wars is Microsoft or Sony, where if you fuck up, we're going to tell you fucked up, because the type of people that are buying your shit got opinions, and they're not brainwashed, and they're not in this magical world of Disney where it's all Mickey and woohoo, or like, we're not in this Mario land where it's like, it's a Mario, and everyone's having fun. It's like, yeah, I'll take Mario Kart 8 for the 4th time. Why not? Put a deluxe on there. Put some shrimp on the barbie.
We're getting Hyrule Warriors for like the 4th time too.
That's
just
the
endless.
Thing, is Nintendo can get away with it because they are so smart with how they've conditioned their consumer to a point where they are going to buy whatever is slapped in front of them, as long as it's one of the main IPs. Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, any of those type of Smash Bros, any of those types of things, and they're all intertwined. I mein, Star Fox, any of them. People are going to just buy it because they've been conditioned since birth that it's just the thing. It's like being mad at Disney. You don't go to Disney. People that are in Disney World, dude, because I looked up. This is true. This is facts. Before Kayla and I went to Dominican Republic there a couple months ago or whatever, we were going to go to Disney. All right. We always wanted to go to Disney. I've never been to Disney, and I'm not even like a big Disney guy. It's just one of those bucket list things that you want to just do. It's like, yeah, you know what? We'll go to Disney for 4 days. We'll do Universal for 2 days. It's great. So what I did is I went down this deep, dark rabbit hole of things to do in Disney, how to prepare, because it is a massive ordeal. For anybody that's listening, probably understands that Disney isn't something that you wing. You don't just buy Disney tickets, get your flights, show up, and have fun. This is like this is a vacation on vacation. This is like you're planning everything. You're planning your buses. If you're not staying on Disney, if you're staying at Disney, you got to know when to get up. You got to know what parks you're visiting. You got to know what speed passes to get. You got to know what tickets, where to show up, where to eat, when to eat, how much things are. If you're on a certain budget, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to know what supplies to bring with you. You got to everything. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, it's daunting. But one thing that I have learned from all of my research, and this breaks down Nintendo so perfectly, because once again, Nintendo is Disney, just in a different way, the way they've conditioned their consumers. Every YouTube video that I've watched, everyone, and I mean there is no exception, there's not one, and I'm telling you, if y'all want to call me out on this, you go right on YouTube, and after the podcast or during it, I don't give a shit. Pause this, go there, type in, top 10 Disney rides, top 10 Disney eats, things to do in Disney, anything to do with Disney, okay? There's one thing that connects all of them, and that is the type of people that go to Disney. And all of them, there's no exception, every single one of them that I've seen, they are all bibbly, bobbity. We're going to Disney. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh,
I have so many friends like that.
Oh, we went to the Mickey Mouse house, and it's and like they you're almost thinking that they're fucking retarded. You're like, what the fuck kind of weird? Like, I understand this is your thing. Like, I understand that this is, but they are like, I'm telling you, dude, they breathe, eat, sleep, shit, fuck Disney. They would give Disney their last fucking dollar. I'm telling you, hard ass working people, 9 to 5, barely making ends meet, but they will scrounge and scrape. They won't save up to buy a pair of sneakers, but they will save every fucking cent to go to Disney.
Year.
They will budget like a motherfucker. They will have it. I'm telling you, dude, they're all conditioned. Every one of them. There is no exception. They're all like this uppity, spends way too much time in the house watching Disney movies, spends, all the cosplay, Halloween shit, Disney stuff in the background, like fucking Mickey Mouse shit on the walls. If they turn on their cell phone, they've got Mickey Mouse in the background. Fuck their kids. It's like Mickey Mouse.
It's a way of life for them.
They are completely in.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if
they're happy.
Oh, they're beyond happy, dude. They're fucking happier than I am. I watch the videos hating my own life. I'm like, why are these people so fucking happy? Why can't I be that happy?
Yeah.
Why can't I do this?
Happy. Dude, they're so happy to even talk about it, to help you have a good time at Disney. They want you to experience what they've experienced, because it's like, it's just in their soul, it's in their lifeblood, and it's the beautiful thing of marketing that Disney has done. And this doesn't happen overnight. This is like generations of families, and that's what Nintendo is. Nintendo did the same thing. As a kid, me just remembering my first console ever, the Super Nintendo, getting it for Christmas. I'm telling you, this is why they can do these things, is because at the end of the day, Nintendo people can get disappointed at certain things, but they forget really fast. And all they want to do is they just want more and more content. Disney is Nintendo, and Nintendo is Disney. They use the same formula. It's the perfect type of brainwashing, where you can do no wrong. You can do no wrong. That's what it is.
But did Nintendo really do that intentionally? Because if they did it intentionally, would the Wii U have been such a fucking failure? I feel like Nintendo, they have that because Nintendo has been like a part of the gaming community's life since the Atari crash in 83 or whatever. So like Nintendo is the grandfather, and it's raised now generations of kids, whereas Sony and Microsoft only got into the game, in the 2000s. They were late to the party, right? There was Nintendo, and then eventually Sega entered the market. They didn't last very long, and then now here we are. So Nintendo is like 3 generations deep, and so I feel, and I think here's my thing with the formula is they might to a degree intentionally do some of this stuff, but I think it's more about the fact that they have just controlled their own product and not let it get outside of their own gates for so long. They're in this walled garden type deal where nothing gets in, nothing gets out. It's Nintendo lives on Nintendo. Their properties live on Nintendo. Yeah, we might let in 400 or 500 vaporware shitfest games onto the console, but our games, they don't go anywhere. They are only here. You can only get them here, and they're good fucking games. It doesn't matter how shit the system is or how crap the rest of the titles are on the system. If they can pound out 4 or 5 Nintendo first-party games, which you've already listed the major ones here: Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong. You could probably throw in, well, Smash Bros. Sure.
You've got Pikmin, Animal Crossing.
I'm thinking Samus, Metroid Prime. Like
Metroid,
you like. There's an
they
easy
have a lot
5.
of more properties than the people know about.
Yeah, there's an easy
They don't
5
remember 'em.
that will sell a console, right? They get that locked in. It doesn't matter what else the console does. It just doesn't matter anymore as long as they've got that shit. With the Wii U, its only major failing is, in my estimation, was that it didn't differentiate itself from the Wii enough for the parents to go and buy that shit. Because in the Nintendo's
and
market,
the games were available on
Exactly,
the Wii.
exactly.
98% of them.
which is
You
what
could
we're
just buy on the
seeing.
Wii.
Which is what we're seeing with the Switch, and the Wii U. But they're basically just cannibalizing the Wii U. It's like they want to forget the Wii U ever happened. They don't want it. It's like in the annals of history, Nintendo doesn't want people to remember that the Wii U ever happened. They just want to see
Well, they
the
probably
Wii
won't.
and then the Switch. Nobody wants to remember the Wii U. It's like the Neo Geo. Like nobody wants to fucking remember it. Just it happened. Yeah, it was there, but fuck it. Don't think about it. It's fine.
Yeah, everyone's got their fails. It happens.
Yeah, we're gonna bring out all the games and slap them onto the Switch because here's
Well, while the Wii U was failing, the 3DS was crushing, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's
exactly.
like they always
The 3DS
always
has
had-
always
their
been
handhelds
crushing.
always been
3DS has always been
their
crushing.
bread and butter, right? Has always been their handhelds because people have tried to get into the market and run alongside them, and ain't nobody coming fucking close.
Well, that's kind of like what the Wii U was trying to do. Is they're trying to do what the Switch has done, where they're trying to be a console and also a handheld.
Well, that's
device
the
as
Wii
well.
U,
But
the
it was
Wii
still
U
locked
was a
into the living room at
weird-
that
It
time.
was,
Yeah.
but still, you could
It
see
was a
like,
weird hybrid
evolution.
device.
Conceptually.
Like the tech wasn't there yet to support it.
Yeah,
It only really started like the tech to be able to do console level stuff in like a portable form factor only really recently. Like yeah, the PSP you can argue, but even then, like
yeah.
to do
It
it
wasn't.
reliably,
It
not
wasn't
now.
on the
Yeah.
level that the Switch is on. But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that Nintendo's gonna keep doing Nintendo. They're crushing it right now. So
they are.
you know,
They are.
that's-
And now we get to see what comes up at E3. They're not going to like Microsoft's not specifically at E3, Nintendo's not specifically at E3. People are just like, we're going to do E3, but we're not going to be there. We're just
We're
going to
gonna do it
like
across the street. or
like
some random
Microsoft is
hotel
literally
nearby.
across the street. It's just like we're going to be there, but not technically. So we'll see what Nintendo brings. I'm sure they got a bunch of stuff. Maybe we'll get honest to goodness names for some of these games coming out, and not just we have a Kirby game, and we have a Metroid game, and we have a this and we have a that. So we'll wait and
Sold.
see what the
They can do that
sold!
and they'll be fine.
Sold.
Yeah.
They'll do their little treehouse thing and they'll make a killing regardless.
yeah, probably.
You
Even
know,
with like
you know I'm right.
terrible translators, and it's just like the shittiest quality production of all time. Doesn't matter. And then the last one on the list here, we come to Microsoft. Microsoft's a pretty cut and dry case. Microsoft seems to be playing the long game with their shit. And I guess they kind of have to, because when this generation first started, they started so far back that there was no way they were going to just magically catch up to the PS4. It's just just impossible. They any chance that I can get to shit on what's his name? Fucking anyway, I'm not gonna give him more airtime than he needs. But anyway, he fucked it up. Xbox was terrible. It was an NFL box for like the first year and a half. Eventually, they got off of that, and now they're still paying for it, really. And their lack of exclusives are not helping them. So they've got a hell of a next couple of years ahead of them. I went from thinking that the Xbox One X was going to be it for a considerable period of time to thinking that we're not that far out from another generation of consoles altogether from Sony and Microsoft. And I say that because this is how I feel it's going to go. One of two things are going to happen. Microsoft is going to show up at E3 across the street, and they're going to have their press conference, and they're going to have multiple first-party exclusive titles that are going to release inside of 2 years. At least 3 that are console-selling games. Whether they're sequels or not doesn't matter. We're talking Halo 6. We're talking Fable 4. We're talking, I don't even know where else you go from there. Maybe a new IP, some shit, pull something out of the graveyard. I don't know, but
Yeah,
they need at least 3. If they don't have 3, I think if they won't announce it this year, I think if they don't have 3, next E3, we're hearing about the next Xbox coming. Because
I think we're going to hear about it next year anyway.
Yeah, because they don't have anything. There's no reason to own an Xbox One right now, let alone an Xbox One X, outside of a couple of games, especially because they're putting everything on the PC as well. And
I'm waiting for the Xbox Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, they're in a really weird position, but they are playing the long game because they are doing this whole hitting the PC and console market simultaneously. I don't necessarily think it's the worst move in the world. I don't think that they're gonna. I don't know how well it's gonna work until we see it actually be a bit more successful in terms of execution, because there hasn't really been that many games, because they tend to have to be first party for them to put it on the PC and Xbox, and they just don't have any first party games. So we don't really know how that's gonna play out. I don't know what it is, but for me personally, to feel like Microsoft isn't, completely bombing this entire generation, despite the fact that they're light years ahead of where they were from where they started, is that this E3 needs to just, and I've said this before, they need to literally just smash this shit. They need Celine Dion. They need fucking...
They need Celine Dion.
Yeah,
they need everyone to show up at this thing.
Realistically, if you blow up on the launch pad the first time around, if you get 100 feet off the second time around, you're infinitely further ahead than you were, but you're still only 100 feet off the ground. Like, they're gonna have to do something fucking big.
It's better. I mean, if the two options for Microsoft were keep the original head of Xbox, Don Matrick, that's his name.
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
So
He
their two
bombed out
options
at Zynga
are,
too.
Keep Don Matrick and see how many shades of NFL TV he could get crammed onto the Xbox, and inevitably likely keep the Kinect as a mandatory add-on in console. Just jack the price up $100 for no benefit to anyone whatsoever, or change to what they have now with Phil Spencer, who has tried his best, given probably the funds and time that he has available to him, to put Xbox in more of a games first mentality. Because I think some people underestimate just how damaging the first year of the Xbox One was for Microsoft's game division.
That was devastating.
It was from a brand perspective and from just a monetary perspective,
Dude.
They fucked it so hard.
I was the biggest Xbox fanboy.
X-Boy. That's the new IP coming this E3. X-Boy.
Yeah, I was a huge I've been all over it since the original Xbox 360, Xbox One. I was all over it. And Xbox One just destroyed all of that goodwill. Jeff was here when I played it once or twice when Jeff was here while he was streaming,
and then just sold it.
I never played it, and finally, for some reason or another, something happened. I think it was Master Chief Collection came out, and it was super buggy, and I was so pissed, so mad that I actually spent the 2 hours breaking it all out of my entertainment center, unwiring everything, bundling that shit all up, putting it into bags, and walking it over to the GameStop that's 3 blocks away.
Give me $5.
And I was just fuck it. I'm getting me a PS4 Pro.
Yep.
I completely jumped ship. Not just I'm done with consoles. No, I'm going to the other side.
It was
Like,
really, it is really bad, and they're still paying for it now, and it is a lot better than it was. And honest to God, I think that when the Xbox
you're not
One,
getting me for another generation or two. I'm not going to go back. I got a PS4 Pro. I'm going to wait until that wears out before I make a decision.
it's
again.
gonna require first party titles, I think, because we were in this segment where I think first party titles didn't matter too much, and now I think for people to buy consoles, all of a sudden first party titles are becoming a little bit more important again. For whatever reason, I could sit here and just try and guess at that, but what's why?
Before. There's the problem is a lot of these games come on multiple consoles. So what differentiates themselves are their IPs, the ones that are
it's their services, and it's their first party titles that you can only get there. Those are the only differentiating factors outside of raw hardware power, which this generation kind of did favor the PS4 because the Xbox One originally was so weak that it was getting crushed by the PS4 to the point where if somebody's playing Call of Duty, they're getting a demonstrably better experience on the PS4 than they were in the Xbox One, which wasn't necessarily the case in the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. They were pretty damn close. I mean, the PS3 might edge it out here and there. Then the longer it went on, the better people got with the Xbox 360's hardware. Games were basically parity or better. But we haven't seen that this generation. It's been pretty much a crapshoot the whole way. So yeah, we'll see what Microsoft brings. I don't know if you saw this tweet I put out a few days ago, but I had when digging out all my shit, I found my HD DVD player. And the Xbox add-on HD DVD player, and a few of my HD DVDs that I had from back in the day. And I was like, you know what? Just for shits, let's see. I've got this really fancy TV that I didn't have when I first bought this HD DVD player. Let's see what the honest to God quality difference is between the HD DVD and the Blu-rays that I've got. And so I plugged it all in, and I had my 360 that I brought out for it, and plugged it in and sure.
Like all those DivX players and stuff too, right?
Yeah, sure as shit it worked. No issues whatsoever. Worked flawlessly, and it looked good. We watched King Kong, which is not a bad movie by any stretch. It's probably the longest movie that I've watched in the last 6 months. Shit was over 3 hours. The Jack Black one.
Jack Black one.
And it looked good. You could tell it wasn't Blu-ray. And there was reasons for that, but it looked good. The chief reasons being HD DVD was dual layer and had a smaller media storage size than Blu-ray did, so the bit rate was lower. So you could not, if you wanted to, have it be equivalent, despite the fact they used largely the same codecs for encoding and whatnot. Same audio, everything else is pretty much bang on, but yeah, they kind of lost that out for a good reason. PS3 notwithstanding, probably the reason Blu-ray 1 was the PS3. But Xbox with the 360 smashed it hard. I mean, if anyone's asking, somebody in chat was saying, honest question, how is Microsoft even considered to be a competitor in the console wars? Okay. The Xbox came out of just appeared on the scene. I still remember when it happened. Jeff, I don't know how much you remember, but there was a green flyer that showed up from GameSpot or GameStop. I can't always want to say GameSpot. And it had the Xbox deal that was going to be at EB Games. And it was, and I had it, and it was, I remember looking at it, and I remember all the hype around the fact that it was going to be graphically so fucking powerful and shit. And everyone at the time was thinking, why is Microsoft trying to get in on this game? Microsoft's a bunch of old, sweaty white men trying to freaking get into this young, hip market, and they came out, and they had fire first-party titles that sold a lot more Xboxes than people thought it was going to happen. Then they come out with Xbox Live and changed the game. PlayStation had online. Guess what PlayStation's online was compared to Xbox Live?
Garbage. It was
garbage. Xbox Live changed the game. What you know right now in console online gaming and what has bled over to the PC market for online multiplayer, you can thank Xbox Live for that shit because it was a complete revolution. Then you got Xbox 360 came to the party, and that was a good console. If anyone ever says that the Xbox 360 was a shit console, you're high as a motherfucker, because that console was across the board really damn good. Everything that you could possibly have wanted in a console, the Xbox 360 was it. Had great first-party titles. They started bringing in a lot more Japanese titles for
360 was
people that were
fire.
interested in. The only market that it failed in was Japan. They could not sell this shit in Japan. They never been able to sell Microsoft products in Japan to begin with because Japan is Nintendo, Sony until the end of time. But everywhere else in the world, it outsold Sony. It crushed Sony by quite a margin. This generation, Sony is massacring Microsoft on a scale of 5-1 or some stupid fucking number. It's just bad. And it's mostly because of the
part
first
of that's
year.
Because, well, not even that. It's part of it was for the PS3. It was hard to develop on. It was very proprietary tech. There was a lot of complications behind it. Sony missed the mark on that with the PS3, even though it was a good console. They kind of missed the mark on it. And when PS4 and that gen came around, they came out swinging hard. You guys remember that E3 conference? Everyone was like, "Holy shit! Sony just absolutely shit on Microsoft."
Oh yeah,
Like,
I remember.
everything that people wanted. Sony had actually listened and came out with something that wasn't like, we're gonna do it Sony way. This time they're like, all right, maybe we should back off the Sony way a little bit and do this a little bit more realistically. And it's showing with the PS4 success. Like, people resonated with the approach.
Yeah, I think that honest to God, it's the first party title shit that really hammered Microsoft this time around. They were so stuck with they were so good about getting games onto the Xbox and the Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One came around. They just could not get shit rolling.
Well, we'll see what they'll do. We'll see what
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We're gonna see soon enough. We're gonna see. We'll debate it later.
We'll see for sure. That's coming up soon. That's a month from now, I think, almost exactly a month from today.
Yep.
We're gonna get on that E3 hype, and I'll be live, and then if Panic and Jeff are available and they want to pop in and out, I'll be
kind of like what we did last time. I should be able to be in.
That's basically it. I'm just gonna run the shit, and then people can pop in
and I can do it
and pop out and bada bing bada boom. Because I'll be there for all of it. Because I'm a slave to E3, so I'll be there for.
Too. Unfortunately, I will not be able to be on unless I'm home.
Work. Yeah, the difference is being work.
That pesky little thing.
It does, the making money thing. All right, that's all I've got for games. That's all I've got, and we can move on to the TV movie segment. Mr. Black, would you like to hit me up with a little TV movie jingle?
TV and movie.
We've got Infinity War. So full disclosure, right now, it's the only thing I have written down because I have no idea how long this discussion's going to be.
Okay, before we get into Infinity War,
you got something else?
I got something else.
Okay, all right. Hit us up.
I binge watched Cobra Kai.
Right. I think Panic did too.
F8. Okay, so I
watched it the night of the podcast last time.
Yesterday I was fucked. I woke up in the morning and I had a headache. And I was like, why do I have a headache? Like the night before I had like 2 beer, which I hadn't had beer in a while, but maybe that was it. I have no idea. But pretty much the whole fucking day I had a headache. So I went to the gym, ran on a treadmill, did a little workout, headache still there. Come home, laid on the sofa, passed out for like 2.5 hours. Woke up. I was like, shit, now I'm going to be up all night. This ain't good. Still had a headache. I was like, man, this headache ain't going away. So I was like, what am I going to do? All right, I'm going to watch something on Netflix. I'm looking around Netflix. I tried to find the Conor McGregor Notorious thing. Ended up getting a bootleg copy on the internet somewhere. Watched that, and then I was scrolling through YouTube, and then on the side I saw the Cobra Kai thing, and I was like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about that. So I'm like, all right, I'll try this out. It was on YouTube Red, so I had to use my VPN. Pretend I was in the States, and I got a free trial version of YouTube Red. So I watched the first 2 episodes. So for those who don't know, Cobra Kai is the sequel, I guess, or like the aftermath of the original Karate Kid movies back in the day.
YouTube original where they just explored what happened like 20, 30 years later. Yeah,
so like YouTube Red has had a really hard time trying to figure out what it is and really have a place. Like YouTube Red is great for people that want to listen to music like on their phones, like from YouTube, and have like the app closed and shit. That's what most people are using it for. If you also have it, you don't receive any ads, but the content creator still gets paid. So I guess it was always kind of a weird thing, but they never had any really big like shows. Like I know PewDiePie did a thing, and I'm sure that did reasonably well. But then PewDiePie got axed from YouTube's thing, and haven't really found anything worth buying YouTube Red for. And Cobra Kai started doing really, really well. Like tens of millions of people were watching the shit.
Well, they launched it. They launched it in one shot. It was just like they're just like, here it is, Cobra Kai, boom. They did like a little marketing behind it. That was it.
They did the first 2 episodes for free, so you can watch the first 2 episodes. And I highly, 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 highly suggest that if anybody out there watched the old Karate Kid, this is like, you have to see this. Like it's not even for debate. You have to go watch this.
It's so my take on it was Cobra Kai is something entirely unnecessary and unneeded, but so worth it. It was an 80s movie that didn't need any more depth. It was what it was, and it was like you didn't need any more. And I didn't know I needed any more until I watched Cobra Kai, and I'm like, I enjoyed this thoroughly. Entirely unnecessary, but it was for like the B or C tier production. It was done really friggin' well.
I can't even give it I can't give it C tier. Dude, I'm telling you right now,
it was really well done.
This shit felt like an HBO show or a Netflix show.
I wouldn't go that far. Like
I'm going that far. It felt like Entourage. Like it felt like the level of writing, humor,
put a lot of
the
effort into
wittiness.
it. It was well done.
The writing was just so well done. You can tell that the people that created this loved the original source material. Dude, you know what? This show is so fucking good. It's so fucking good. I actually am blown away by how awesome that they usually when you go
made
and
the
you
source
grab
material
something
better.
like this,
It made the source material better.
Like I cannot believe they pulled this off. Like I am actually in shock. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I watched the first one going, okay, that didn't suck. I wasn't completely sold on it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the second. I watched the second episode. I'm like, I'm getting this fucking YouTube Red. All right, I went and I got my VPN set up. I went and got all this shit hooked up, made a separate YouTube account, fucking did all this stuff just to watch it. I ended up watching 8 episodes last night. I was up till 3:45 in the morning watching this shit.
The night of the podcast, when I said, I just watched, I was like 10 minutes into the first episode. I finished watching the entire thing that fucking night. I was up until like 3 in the morning, and I regretted it the next morning, but it was good.
It's so good. Like, there are some cheesy moments for sure.
It's super cheesy. It's super tacky, but it's so well done.
But it
makes the original material better.
It reminded me of like the way I felt when I used to watch like The OC or one of those type of shows where there's high school drama, but it's not like super cheesy and makes you cringe.
I
actually care about the characters.
I empathize with Johnny. I was like, you know what? When he was explaining, like, so one of the scenes is, I won't go into too much of it. He explains the events of the original movie from his side, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you know what? That motherfucker's actually right. I empathize with this guy,
dude.
Like, I understand.
Guy deserves. I'm telling you, if this was a Netflix show, the guy would be up for some awards.
He did his character so well.
He fucking It is, guy, Adam, if you watch the old school Karate Kid.
Of course I did. I've watched them many times. Yes.
Dude, this show is fucking awesome.
They use some of the old footage too in such a good way. In such a good way.
Oh, fuck. Dude, I was like, I got goosebumps on a couple of parts. The throwbacks. Like, and they treat it with so much respect. You're going, they could have just overdid it, and everything just kind of ties. There's so much you learn about these characters. They parody a lot of stuff
about now too, like culture now.
The
parody
music's on point.
So much.
The tournament's on point. The relationships are on point. The acting's on point. The writing's on point. The
Billy
cinematography,
Zabka.
everything is on point. Yo,
Billy
I'm
Zabka,
gonna
the
rewatch
guy,
this bitch.
Yeah. Billy Zabka is so politically incorrect. It's awesome.
Oh
like he was saying some things in there, and some of the things he was saying there, I'm like, no, you know what? He is right. Some people need to toughen the fuck up,
dude.
And like, but it was like, again, it was
Adam.
done in a tolerant way of being
Adam.
so PC.
Adam,
It was hilarious.
you gotta watch it.
It
Adam,
was enjoyable.
you gotta fucking watch it.
How many
Adam.
episodes is this bitch?
It's 10 episodes,
only
30 minutes
10.
each.
It's 10.
10 episodes. Some of them are like 26 minutes. Some of them like
32.
36 minutes.
Yeah.
What I loved is they didn't have this constraint of 25-minute
They
episodes.
don't do
or
weird
whatever.
cuts.
They don't do weird. The whole thing flows. There wasn't a single, maybe one episode where it was like a filler episode, but it didn't even, because there's
wasn't
always
even really filler.
It didn't even feel like filler. It feels like everything that was in that movie was done with purpose, with care. And though I cannot get over the writing, how clever it is, how heartfelt it is, how fun it is. Just enough campiness and enough.
It doesn't take itself too
It's
seriously,
just
even though it takes
oozing
itself
with
seriously.
nostalgia. I mean, the fucking nostalgia, and it's like you're like the whole time. It's like somebody. It's people showing up at your house and just raping you, and you're like, I didn't ask for this rape, but I am loving it, so I
Wow.
can't call it rape anymore.
I
didn't ask for this.
That was a
That's
bold.
what that's-
That was a bold
That's
analogy.
what I was just saying.
That's
I'm
what
like,
it's like.
I was
It's
telling,
like-
I was saying it earlier. It's entirely unnecessary, and you didn't know you wanted it
You're
until
like,
you got it.
I didn't ask for this, sex. What are you doing? I
Wouldn't
didn't
go
ask
that
for this,
far.
but shit, this is wow.
You're-
I didn't know I wanted this.
You're on your own with that analogy. I'm putting you on an
Well,
island.
you
You're by yourself with that analogy.
All right, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. All right, I'll gear it down. I'll gear it down.
Yeah,
I'll
bring it
gear
down. You're at like a 46. We need you at like a 9.
All right, all right.
It just,
all right.
yeah,
But you get what I'm
well,
trying to say here. You
yeah.
didn't know you wanted it, man.
Yeah.
You didn't know you wanted it. I had to
But
take
by
it
the
to that
way,
level.
you guys can get a YouTube Red trial and just
Yeah,
go
it's free.
for it. So for like a couple
Yeah,
of
it's
days.
free. If
you
you
can watch
are
the entire thing.
Canadian, you do have to use a VPN, or they're gonna make you pay per episode. Because if you're Canadian, you can't actually get a trial. Like the YouTube Red isn't for Canadians. So all I did was use my VPN, said I was from like Boston, and then logged into YouTube, and it allowed me to sign up for the free trial. I'm telling you, Adam, you're gonna love this shit, dude. You're gonna fucking love the show. The show is so good, you're gonna binge watch it, bro. This time next week, we're gonna talk about it, and we'll be able to get into a little bit of spoilers. I'm telling everybody, because there's only about 15 people listen to the podcast. All 15 of you need to go out and you need to listen to this or watch this shit, because
Not
next
more
week
than
we're going to
15
spoil it.
people.
There's at least
You got at
17.
least 20.
I'm telling you, dude, it's good.
I'll do
It's
my
good.
I'll do my
Go watch
best. I'm in the midst of moving,
Oh,
but I will do my
You're gonna
best to
watch
try
one,
and
and you're gonna go. We need to make time.
try
We need
and
to make time.
make it happen.
The wifey will like it. You'll like it. It's just good. It's just a good time. I'm telling you. It's the butt sex you didn't know you liked. You're like, you're not gonna put that finger in my ass. And you're like, you know what? Just go with it. No, I don't want. Oh.
This was the analogy you probably should have gone with
This is the one I
originally.
should have.
That
This
was
is the one I
one.
should have went with instead of the rape analogy.
yeah,
you know,
that was probably.
So,
this is
yeah.
safer play. The butt
safer
stuff.
play. At
Let's
this
say-
point, I don't care. But you know, it was. You know where I was going with it. You know where I was going with it. I get a little
Yeah, I
excited
gotcha.
sometimes. You know, you get a little excited.
I gotcha. Is there
was
anything
good.
else that we've got before we go Infinity War? Rick
No.
Moranis is back on SCTV reboot. Shout that out there, just because we haven't seen him since the 90s, because he left Hollywood as the keymaster to go raise his kids. And now he's coming back for the reboot of SCTV. That's about the only other interesting thing that I saw. That's pretty much
Well,
it.
Great.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your official spoiler warning. If you don't want to get spoiled for an Infinity War, this would be a real good time to stop. It'll be the last thing short of the tech support stuff that we'll tackle later on. So if you're brave enough, you can skip ahead. I'm not about to front load the tech support because I'm an asshole. So
No, but the Infinity, we've been waiting too long for this.
yes,
Listen,
our time is now.
If you're a Marvel fan, you haven't seen Infinity War yet. You know that's your
Dude, I got people going
That's
to
your
watch
fault.
it like today, and I'm like, seriously, guys? Like, wow.
crazy.
Well, that was me, but again, I've been kind of busy moving.
Adam, you don't usually watch movies, so we give you a
you're
pass.
not-
That's,
you're not-
I guess that's
you're
true.
not really.
I
Yeah.
guess that's true. So Infinity War, that was a movie. I don't even know where we want to start with this. I
Let's
guess.
start with initial thoughts.
All right, just really short, sweet initial thoughts of the movie. Mr. Black, you go first.
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. I borderline loved it.
Okay.
I think it's probably the best Marvel movie I've seen besides Civil War.
Okay.
Trying to think here because Civil War is still kind of like an Avengers movie.
Yeah. Winter Soldier you like a lot too.
I liked Infinity War more than Winter Soldier.
All right.
I just haven't seen Civil War for a long time right now. I didn't watch Civil War twice in theater. In fact, the only other Marvel movie I've ever watched twice in theater was Deadpool. So I went for a second time. I saw both times in IMAX, not 3D. I just don't care about 3D all that much. If it's in IMAX and it's not in 3D, I'll just go see it without it being in 3D. Unless it's like something like Jurassic World or something where it kind of adds more to it. But I think something like Avengers, there's already a lot going on.
Yeah.
I don't need more. I don't want to struggle while watching the movie.
Yeah.
I want to watch and enjoy the film. But yeah, I mean, to give it my super fast thoughts, I borderline loved it. I would even go as far as saying I loved it. It's definitely at least number 2. It could be number 1. I just have to watch Civil War again because it's been so long. But yeah, I amazing. I loved it. Saw it twice.
Civil War or Winter Soldier is actually hard to top. I actually held Winter Soldier above Civil War in my ranking. But
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on this one, Panic?
I really liked it. It definitely surprised me in a bunch of ways. The thing I enjoyed the most about it was you knew they had just like a ton of characters they had to get into it, and they wove the stories really well to keep a flow going without like getting too imbalanced in who they were showing when. I feel like they for what they had to do in the movie, they did a really good job of balancing seeing everyone, which I applaud because that was just a ridiculously hard challenge to do. I'll start with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what I was going to say, too, I guess. I'll build a little off it. First of all, I liked it a lot. I think it was my personal favorite Marvel movie that I've seen. I haven't seen... I think Civil War is... Between Civil War and maybe, like, Ant-Man, as far as ones that came out a while ago... They're like, I think the only ones I haven't really seen. And then Black Panther, we were going to try and get to Black Panther this week before going to Infinity War, but it just didn't play out. We ended up doing too much movie shit, and then I got sick.
Of the like 19 Marvel movies,
so
he's going as a cash.
The only one in this, the only ones that mattered to this movie specifically would have been Civil War and Black Panther.
Thor, the last Thor movie.
Ragnarok mattered.
Ragnarok, Guardians 2.
I saw Guardians 2.
What other ones I guess would be kind of big? I guess those would be like the main ones.
Yeah.
Ragnarok, obviously the Avengers.
Yeah.
Civil War is a big one because
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But like in the scheme of things, like I mean, really for Civil War, what played out there was a scene where Tony is like, I'm not on speaking terms, and then everyone was like, bitch, it's the end of the universe.
Civil War?
I just told, not even 35 seconds ago.
I know. That took a little while to process that someone hasn't actually seen Civil War.
I haven't seen Civil War. It might be for you.
Canadian Netflix.
Yeah, we're Canadian Netflix. Yeah, we don't always get the same shit. But yeah. So like in terms of things that I would have personally, from after viewing it, that I noticed that I would have liked to have seen before, definitely Black Panther was obviously is the most prominent of the movies. But we tried to go this week, just couldn't make it happen. We were even trying to plan at one point seeing both in the same day. We were going to do like double feature day, and it just didn't pan out.
The nice thing about Black Panther though is it kind of stands alone, and you don't need as much backstory or anything. You can just watch it whenever, and it will hold.
Yeah, so I'm definitely like Gabs really wants to see Black Panther because she's been interested in it as well. So we're gonna see it. Just we didn't get a chance to see it ahead of time.
Is calling you out, saying can confirm Civil War is on Canadian Netflix.
It might very well be. The thing is, for me on what I use for Netflix, which is a Roku box, that unless you search, like use the search function and like type in random movies to see if they're on Netflix, Netflix and basically every other app that isn't a browser is the most infuriating fucking process in the world.
All
when
right,
you're trying to
Adam
find
didn't
shit.
see it. All right, Adam
I
didn't
didn't
see
see
the
it.
movies. All
I'm
right,
gonna-
he
I'm
saw
gonna
it.
see them
He still
eventually.
enjoyed Infinity War.
So
I
here's
enjoyed
my-
Infinity
here's
War,
my-
so my parts about Infinity War that I really
Let's get
like,
focused here.
Panic echoed
Sorry.
my thoughts about it, which was that for the amount of characters in this movie, of which there are fucking endless characters in this movie, they did a really damn good job of not making it incredibly. This could have easily been a super confusing movie, and they, as far as like bouncing around to different places, and they did that really, really well. Even for a plebeian like me who hasn't seen all the movies, I didn't get lost. At no point was I like, what the fuck is going on, whatever. So that was really cool. And then I guess to add a point that hasn't been said yet, before we go deeper into this shit, it was the first movie in a while that I saw that I didn't feel like the humor was super Disney. Like it was Disney humor, but it didn't pull me out of the movie like other Disney movies have been doing recently. And I laughed out loud like 7 or 8 times in this movie. It is really funny, and I'll talk more about how I enjoy the humor in it later on, but we'll rotate back around.
What was the general feeling that you guys all had when you guys were watching it? Like, what was the theater like? What was the reaction of the audience and the mentality? Because I found this one at least to be very different from other Marvel movies I've seen. So I'm curious what your guys' experience was.
Well, I went opening night, like the night before opening, like on a Thursday. So everybody that was there, it was completely sold out, and I had booked my tickets 3 months in advance. So I was ready, right?
Your body was ready.
Oh, I was ready. So I'm one of those Marvel fanboys. You know, I've seen all the fucking movies. I'm ready for this. And I would say the theater was excited. There was definitely excitement, but there was also this tone of this atmospheric feeling of
Like dread or sadness.
yeah, like sadness, almost like because people
People
knew
were quiet.
people knew that people were going to die in this. They just knew it, right? It was just things people.
It was a question of who is going to go.
It was like, yeah, because
it wasn't
it was like,
if,
hey,
it was who.
Is Steve Rogers going to die?
Yeah.
Is Tony Stark going to die? Is who's going? Is Loki going to go? Those were sort of the main 3 that people were like, which one is going to go, or all of them going to go. So everybody was just kind of biting their nails for their favorite superheroes to make it to part 2, to make it continue going, especially with all the rumors of Chris Evans like being done with the Avengers, and Bucky is going to be taken over as the new Captain America, and so people were just like on edge. That's what it was. It was on edge. So, it was, and the movie's tone was like that too. The whole movie's tone was, sure, there was a lot of humor sprinkled throughout there, but it wasn't as, the humor felt like a relief of doom. It was like it's almost like being in a bad situation. It's like
we need
not
to pull
watching
you
a
back a
comedy
little bit.
where it's you're in this really bad situation, but then there's like 1 or 2 guys that'll cut a joke to lighten the mood a little bit, but then you laugh, but then it goes right back to serious. It's like you can't really change your mood. You can sort of forget what's going on just for that moment, and it continued. There were stakes involved in this, and that's what I really, really liked about it as well. And Marvel's just been killing it with the villains. First we had Killmonger and Black Panther. That was just amazing. And now we have Thanos, which is an even more in-depth character that has purpose, and you know why he's doing the things that he's doing. And although you may not agree with how he's doing them, you can almost you get it. You can almost you can sympathize with at least I could.
In
with
spots, he
his
approaches an anti-hero. Like they definitely tried
He's
really
definitely-
hard in a couple of spots to push him as an anti-hero. Like
Well,
they got.
I wouldn't go as far as an anti-hero, but more of a
You can
villain.
sympathize with the villain.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's by any means. I mean, I guess in the comics, at some point he does not become an Avenger, but he does help the Avengers in certain things. But there's like total different stories. But they're not really going with the comics with Infinity War. It doesn't. It does. It's very, very different. Some things are the same, but a lot of it is different. Like even his motive in the comics, where he's trying to impress Death, which is like this woman that he's that's why he wants to kill everything and just to please.
The scale has never been seen.
Yeah, but in this, you find out he wants to eradicate half of life so that the other half can live peacefully. It can have enough resources and things that they don't have to struggle or kill each other over or do all that stuff. So you're like his mission is his heart is in the right place, but he's going about it in the wrong way.
Very coldly.
Yeah, very, very coldly. So I wouldn't necessarily say an anti-hero, but a villain that you get. Like you're like, okay, he isn't that mad. Like he's crazy, but he's not like psychotically crazy. He's not like he knows what's going on. And what I loved about it is he only killed people that he had to kill. And there were plenty of times where he could have killed some of the heroes, but he just let them live because that wasn't part of the plan. He wasn't out there to just kill random innocent people for the sake of doing it. He was, although that's like
his
sort of
plan
the end goal.
Half the universe,
but he was going to let the Gauntlet do that, right? He was going to let the Gauntlet make the decision, sort of be the great equalizer. He wasn't the one that was just going to go and take a life, like kill Thor when he had a chance or kill whatever. He wasn't even going to kill Loki, spoiler, if he didn't have to. It was Loki that forced his hand, so to speak. He didn't kill Hulk when he had to. He only did the killing when it was necessary and only made the moves to get to his end goal, and that was to finish the Gauntlet.
So here's the thing. I saw the movie about a month before everyone, but the movie they showed me was the full movie without 8 minutes of it, and some audio lines were cut out. So I think you guys will find very interesting the cut of the movie that I saw. It pretty much omitted the fight on Titan with where one of the stones gets taken with Tony and all of that.
Yeah.
And then mine cut out when Thor is fighting Thanos.
Oof.
And it does that, and then it cuts to Captain America going, "Where is he?" And then it cuts to Thanos at the sunset before it cuts to the credits. So when I first saw it, I didn't see all the intervening stuff on those scenes.
Oh, good Lord.
Jesus.
So
when I was sitting in the theater, I was just like, it was only 8 minutes of the entire 2.5 hour runtime.
A lot happens in those 8 minutes.
A lot of 8 minutes.
Yeah. And I was just like, so like when everyone was like, so I didn't get to see it until a couple of days after, but I was like, why is everyone freaked out? It wasn't that bad. What could they do in 8 minutes? And then I was just sitting in the theater and my friend was just like, you look kind of stunned. I'm like, yeah, those 8 minutes they cut were crazy. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I just enjoyed the movie. To be fair, I was like fucking sick, so I was like half in a daze watching this movie. But maybe that was good because I wasn't looking at it with such a critical eye. I was just kind of enjoying it for what I could while I was awake. And it was. It just felt like, I don't know if it's just because the universe, the Marvel universe, and the actors and the characters within it have matured so much to this point, or what. But it just felt like the most cohesive Marvel movie that I'd watched to this point. There were standouts like Winter Soldier that definitely were like that felt like they could stand on their own outside of the Marvel universe. But I've always felt like. From the ones I've seen, and there are movies that I haven't seen in the Marvel universe that probably don't fit inside this box. Like I've only seen I think one or two of the Thor movies. I can't remember now, but it's been ages since I've seen either of them. Regardless, but I've always just felt like they weren't. There was something off about it. Like they were good movies, they were good action movies, whatever. But there was like this weird cohesiveness thing that wasn't there. And then I watched this movie. and there wasn't really a damn thing that I had negative to say about it. It was just a really damn good movie, and just entertaining. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this movie is that of all 3 movies I've seen in the last 15 years, this is certainly the most entertaining movie that I've been to in a long time. I had a lot more fun at this than I did at Star Wars. I can tell you that much.
Definitely.
And I felt like again with the humor thing, I felt like, despite the fact that it was definitely, it was 50 Shades of Disney. It didn't stand out. It wasn't like in Star Wars. It wasn't
everything.
it wasn't like Star Wars where it was just every joke was just flat fuckery of Disney bullshit. The only jokes that fell for me were coincidentally in like the same scene, and it was when Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are on the ship, and Spider-Man has 2 jokes that he drops while he's in the background. Like, he's not in the foreground with the other characters. His 2 jokes drop in the background, and I got the jokes.
I got a chuckle.
But nobody in the theater when we were there laughed at those 2 jokes. Almost every other joke in the movie.
Alien jokes?
What?
I got a chuckle
No,
out of
not
his jokes.
no, they weren't the alien jokes. The alien jokes got a rise out of people, but it was something else. I honestly, if I could try to tell you the jokes, I wouldn't remember
when he
them.
was just like, he's like, hi, I'm Peter, and then he's like, hi, I'm Doctor Strange. He's like, oh, we're using our fake names. I'm Spider-Man.
Well, like, no, it wasn't that one. You're not going to be able to have me fucking remember this shit. I was in a daze. All I know is that it is on the ship. He was in the background. Tony and Doctor Strange were talking, and he was having like some quippy shit in the background that just didn't, like, it weren't horrible, but they just didn't drop the same way as the other jokes did. But I'll be damned. I laughed more at this movie than I did at some comedies I've watched in the last while. It was really, really well timed shit in this. Like there was the one that really got me. Like, Chris Pratt does such a good job of his fucking character. It's scary. And when they're on his ship and Thor first shows up, and there's this 5 minutes, the scene where the girls, everybody's like talking about, like, everyone except for him is talking about how like Thor's like this beautiful rippling muscle mass,
pirate god,
pirate god, and just stroking him and shit, and like and then like
one
they're talking
sandwich away.
Well, and then they talk about how he's gaining weight and shit, and that whole I was dying. This is a funny.
Drax is like,
just the chin.
He's like, that's it. I'm getting a Bowflex. I'm gonna commit.
Yes.
I'm gonna commit. I'm like,
I'm gonna commit.
God.
I was laughing hard. I was like, that shit's fucking funny.
Drax is standing there, fucking silent as fuck.
He's like, I've mastered the art.
It's like, were you there the whole? How long were you there for?
An hour.
And then Mantis is just like, oh, hey, Drax.
Yeah.
And he goes through the whole thing about how he was there for the hour because he's mastered the art of moving so slow that nobody can see him, and everyone's just like, what are you fucking talking about?
And he's a big fucking dude, right? He's just like, dude, we see you, man. Like, the fuck.
Yeah, there's some good shit.
That whole thing was, I loved my favorite dynamic was probably my 2 favorite people together, I think, is Thor and Rocket. I had the most fun with them. I think they stole. Yeah. He kept calling Rocket Rabbit, which was just hilarious, and he did it throughout the whole movie.
It's funny because Rocket only responded to or like reacted to it once, and then at no other point in the movie did he he just didn't give a fuck.
Well, he just went with it, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I thought that their
when Groot
dynamic
did
was
his
great.
one thing.
Yeah, the Groot. Well, first, what I really liked was the one scene with Thor, because Thor's just come so. I actually think Thor is probably my favorite Avenger now. I mean, Ragnarok was just so much fun. That really flushed out his character a shit ton.
This movie made me want to go back and watch the more recent.
Thor Ragnarok, stuff. You got to watch Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, you can watch the
Dark
first.
World or whatever.
You can watch the first one in Ragnarok, and you'll be okay. Dark World just really.
Yeah, Ragnarok is amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. But here, what I loved is he really had the most emotional scene where Rocket is like, so we all kind of had a rough go at it.
It's like time to be the captain. That scene.
And he was talking about how he lost everything. He lost his brother, he lost his father, he lost his people. And you could tell he was still trying to be the tough.
He was trying to be Thor.
Funny Thor, confident, but you could tell he was broken. Like his spirits were broken. And he did such a good job at selling that scene where, he was crying a little bit, but he was still remaining, strong.
He did what he needed to do.
Yeah, man, he fucking destroyed that. I was like, God damn, Hemsworth, dude, you are Thor, bud. You have literally he just won me over. And the part that I didn't like the most out of all of it, and the only part that took me out of the movie, the only thing, and I thought watching it a second time, I would enjoy it a little bit better, but I actually hated it even more, was Peter Dinklage's part. I did not like that.
I thought out of nowhere and awkward, wasn't it?
Well, I thought he was miscast. And it felt like he was.
I think they chose him because they wanted to make him big.
Well, that was it, right? I mean, it was a little person playing a little
dwarf
big person, right?
That is huge.
A little big dwarf.
Yeah, like they want to play the joke of, the dwarves are small. So you're expecting someone small.
And that's fine.
And then you see Peter Dinklage and you're like, oh yeah, definitely small. But then
he
see
sounded
giant.
like Tyrion with a deeper rasp. It was
his character
just
felt like an
awkward.
afterthought almost.
Yeah.
Like it was a really kind of oddly written in.
Yeah, I get why it was there. It's a very important scene. I mean, it's one of the most important scenes in the film. They could have cast
someone else.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure, Peter Dinklage is a great actor. I mean, the guy's an amazing actor.
He's honed in some of his roles.
I just don't think this was for him. I don't think that this was the role for him. It would have been better if it was more that he played a voice instead of seeing his face. It was really, it would have been fine if he played like a big CG dwarf character and it didn't look just like fucking, Tyrion. And it was just, that took me out. It wasn't to the point where it was absolutely god awful, where I was like, this is just, but it took me out of the movie. I was like, God, and at that point in the movie, I was in. Like, I was on this adventure.
Yeah.
I was like, shit was getting real. And then you see his big fucking head, and everybody's laughing in the theater. Like, when they see him, they laugh. They're like, ha, whoa, that's what's his face, right? They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I don't think that was really what the movie was really going for. Like, he plays a really important character. And the mythology behind him is really cool, but I just couldn't get over just seeing Peter Dinklage there. But that was really it. And then when Thor gets the Stormbreaker and he comes down, that was just some amazing
fire.
Just an amazing scene, And you could see that Thor, like at the beginning when Loki got killed, he was like, you're gonna pay for that, right? I'm gonna kill you for that. And he comes in and he goes, "Where is Thanos?" And he just, and fucking rockets on his shoulder, shooting shit. And he's coming down and he smashes lightning. It looks like it fucking turned Super Saiyan God. And he's smashing shit. And all you see the fucking Stormbreaker just mowing down people. It was just so fucking good. It was amazing. And then Groot coming out there and he's like, Groot! And fucking Steve Rogers he goes, I'm Groot. And he goes,
I'm Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers. And I just fucking died. I was like, oh my God, this, how is this movie so fucking epic, man? It's so good. And what I loved the most about this movie, and what people were, some casuals were complaining about, is it didn't feel like a movie, right? And I don't think that's what Marvel was going for here. Is this was 10 years of buildup, and what I loved about this is this was an event. This wasn't a film in the traditional sense where there's a story, middle, beginning, and end. This was Thanos' movie. This was Thanos' movie with the Avengers in it. This was
intro
his
to
story.
Thanos.
And this was what I loved is they didn't baby the viewer. They didn't have to explain anything. They just knew that most people that were going to watch this movie already watched all of these movies, right? They're in. And they don't need to know what Thor is and what he does and what his power set is or
why it's so funny that these certain heroes are interacting with each other. They didn't dumb it down for anybody. They just assumed, and they assumed correctly, because everybody was on this ride and it was an event. And this is a two-parter. So you can't really look at this as this is a movie and it's over here. Obviously, this is one half to one big thing that they filmed back to back, and we're going to get a conclusion of this phase of the MCU. And I just thought it was a masterpiece. Like, the more I think about it, the more I
how'd you feel? How'd you guys both feel about the Vision and Wanda story, and then the Star-Lord and Gamora stories, before you go into the whole thing? Because I feel like they had a big impact on the story, but it wasn't like, I don't know if it had like in context of the whole universe.
I thought the Vision thing was the romance and stuff I felt was a little forced, because, you know, in the last movie, in Civil War or whatever, they were really just starting to figure that out, and they really said, like, hey, you know, they've been away for however long, and they're a couple and they're fighting this thing. I thought it worked, but obviously they have to only can do so much with so many things, and I think they gave them the appropriate amount of time in this film where we got it, like, you know, we understood. I'm happy that they killed off Vision. I don't think Vision will ever come back.
I think the way they did that was particularly brutal.
Oh, I loved it. And
I loved it, but it was so brutal.
They still made her kill him, but then brought him back and just
made her watch.
And made her watch and just ripped it right out. I thought that was great. The whole Gamora thing. I think she's gonna be coming back, and was already said by the Russo brothers that she is in the Soulstone world. So she's like in the gem type thing. And I think that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be about them going to get her back. Because Guardians is that movie's, you know, the next movie, Volume 3 is still on its way out. And also Spider-Man is coming out 2 months after the next Avengers. So
from my understanding, the way it works is we're getting Ant-Man, and then there's one other movie before
Captain Marvel.
Right, yeah, we're getting Ant-Man and Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel's taking place in the 90s. And then we're getting the second Avengers movie after that.
Yes, and then we're getting Spider-Man Homecoming too. So the whole Gamora thing, I liked the whole scene, right? I loved Red Skull being there. We hadn't seen him since, you know, first Captain America. I was like, where the hell? And I thought that was great. And I love the fact that he had to get rid of something that he loved, which also showed that he wasn't a complete, you know, monster, right?
Yeah.
He loved something. And even
her
even
realization was crazy too.
The subtle things I picked up on too the second time watching it is when they first go to that mountain and Red Skull comes out for the first time, and Gamora's standing, Thanos is in front, and when Red Skull comes, Thanos actually steps over and kind of puts his hand out to kind of protect Gamora. It's like these small little things that I didn't notice on the first viewing, where you can tell that he cares about this. And even when he gets to the mountain, he's like, you better not be lying to me about this for your sister's sake. Wasn't for your sake. It was like he didn't care about the other. He didn't care about Nebula. You could tell he just loves Gamora. And I just thought the whole thing was well done, but I felt like she never got her fair shake at showing how much of a badass she is. Throughout the whole Marvel, like throughout Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers, they were like, yeah, Gamora is the most fierce woman in the galaxy, right? And we never saw that. I've never seen her go crazy, right? Never seen her do anything.
In fact, Nebula
special.
Basically gets her goat more often than not.
Yeah,
exactly.
In combat.
What happens in the actual comics and the original lore? There's only a couple of people who wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, which is why I found what happens so interesting. Because Nebula is one of the people who's wielded the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man has wielded the gauntlet.
Yep.
Adam Warlock and a couple others. Adam Warlock hasn't shown up yet. They've shown him.
Not.
But
They said that he's not showing in number 4 either.
Yeah. So he's not in the picture. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is, especially with what they did in the last couple of minutes of the movie, I think we're going to see kind of a Soul Stone type trade-off where some of the big names are going to
Of course.
go out for the other names to come back,
Mhm.
type of thing.
Mhm.
Like I think there's going to be a toll
Which
to
is
pay
convenient for the
sacrifice.
budget.
Yeah.
Well, what's
Well, we
great?
kind of know it's happening.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and they're getting older, right? They've been doing this now for many years,
Yeah.
10 years. And I know that Iron Man, Tony Stark
Robert Downey
wants
Jr. 's
wants
kind
out,
of done.
and Chris Evans wants out.
Yeah.
And the thing is when he does snap his fingers, the original Avengers are still there, right? All
Yeah.
of the original Avengers. There's a couple of extras, but all of the original Avengers. So my theory is exactly what you said. Is they're going to get a hold of the gauntlet, and they are going to. I think the Avengers are going to sacrifice themselves, or key players are going to sacrifice themselves. Likely will be Iron Man and Captain America. I think maybe Cap will die. And
I think Cap is
Iron
gonna
Man,
die.
I think
and
Cap's
Iron
gonna
Man
die
will be the
fighting
guy
Thanos.
that will
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
grab the gauntlet, use it, save the day.
I think
Reverse
Nebula
everything.
and Tony will use it together because they're stuck on Titan together right now, which I thought
They
was
are.
super interesting.
Yeah,
Like
so
them being there together, I'm like, oh, that's actually super interesting to me.
Yeah.
so
Like,
so I
shit
think
just
that's
got
what's going to
real.
happen. I think they're gonna the gauntlet will be used, and that's how they'll send out, because they're going to do a new updated version of the Guardian or of the Avengers, right? There's going to
Yeah.
be a new, younger. I know that like Ant-Man and the Wasp, or
Well, they have like
a
the new
daughter or
Avengers and
something
there's
that
all these
down
other
the road.
groups. So
Yeah, so there's a
Like-
whole bunch of stuff that they're supposed to roll out, but who knows? I just really enjoyed all of it. I thought Loki going out was good. I thought obviously when he snapped his fingers and Black Panther started fading away. At that point, I knew that they were going to come back, because obviously they're going to do Black Panther 2. Homecoming 2 comes out. It's literally got a hard date. The interesting thing will be is how are they going to market Spider-Man before Avengers comes out, and then even after Avengers comes out for a couple of weeks, for a few weeks, they're not going to make any spoilers. They can't.
they
show
don't need to
Spider-Man.
really. They don't really need to market Spider-Man.
No, they don't. But
Yeah.
it's weird to have to not have any people not know it's coming, right? And saying that it's coming is basically spoiling that he comes back, right? Unless they
Yeah.
go like a Miles Morales route or something like that. So that's. I had a really great time. I thought they took a lot of good risks. I thought the snapping of the fingers, it didn't weigh as heavy as, say, Gamora dying or Loki dying, or Vision dying, because I think that
they
those
did that intentionally.
I think Vision and Loki are dead. I think Loki will come back down the road with a different actor, like a reincarnation, because in the comics he does get there's like a young Loki, he gets reincarnated. There's a female Loki as well. So there's some stuff going on there,
I
and then
think
also
what's gonna
there's
happen
a female
is-
Thor as well. So you never
I think what's
you
going to
never
happen.
know.
I
The
think we're
Avengers
gonna
might
lose.
go, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose Hemsworth, Evans, and
Yep.
Downey Jr.
Yep.
And they'll get swapped in with the new origin. They're gonna reboot
Yep.
Thor with that.
Yep.
And then they'll bring back Loki or whatever.
Mhm.
And then they'll reboot Captain America into. This is the thing. What do you guys think? Because in the comics, both Falcon and Winter Soldier have become Captain. Like
I
there
think
has been-
Bucky will become the next Captain
Bucky
America.
gets it hands
Yeah.
down. They haven't. They
Because
haven't.
he signed
Bucky
like
had-
a big
he
deal
has-
too.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in
Huge
the
movie
podcast,
deal.
like forever ago. He's got like a 14-something movie contract.
Yeah, he's going to be the next Captain America without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Falcon.
Without a
They
doubt.
didn't. They wouldn't have framed.
Falcon,
even
well,
if
yeah,
that
Falcon
wasn't- they
hasn't-
didn't frame
Falcon won't
him
sell
at all.
tickets.
No, exactly. He's not going to sell shit. So, yeah, for sure, it's going to be Bucky. Yeah. There wasn't. Yeah. Like if I had to think hard about things that to nitpick on the Gamora scene. I liked pretty much everything about it except for, and this might I might catch some heat for this. I don't know. Maybe not. Her realization, I thought, was a little much. In that it was like not the fact that she realized, it was her reaction to how she realized. It was like there was a little too much sass. Like if I'm standing on the precipice of fucking death and I'm standing with the man ready to destroy half the known universe who just so happens to be my stepfather who eradicated basically half of my race and been through all of this bullshit, whatever. Fuck me, you know, here I am. And then I discover that he's got to sacrifice something that he loves, and I have it ingrained in my mind that this man who has dedicated his entire life to eradicating half of known life in the entire universe for the craziest reasons, or the methods in which he's doing it, could not possibly love anything, and therefore he is cock-blocked because he can't get the stone. If all of that is taking place, I don't have like a sassy fucking like response to it. It seemed like her reaction came off like some Jerry Springer shit. Like, oh, really? You're gonna tell me that you actually really? Come on! Like that was like her fucking
like that. Come on.
But
was
I
more of
expected.
like,
I expected.
She was happy. She was like, "You're fucked. You know, your whole plan is ruined."
No, that was fine.
Did you
But what I
really
mean when she
think-
gets to the point where she realizes that he loves her. That's what I'm saying. Not the part about him. Not the realization that he can't do anything because he doesn't
yeah,
love
well,
anyone.
Red Skull says he's not crying because of that. He's
Yes,
crying.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then so when but the dawning that she has of him loving her, that's what I'm saying. The reaction that happens there is like this weird, sassy, odd, out of tone with the rest of the scene. Everything else about the scene was like this somber, we're building Thanos as a character, holy shit, he actually has a heart in there somewhere, fuck me. And then all this shit happens, and then she gives this like kind of like awkward toned realization of Thanos loving her. Otherwise, outside of that, not that it's a harp on the movie, but like the only part in the movie, for better or worse, that I wanted to punch a charter in the face is Star-Lord punching Thanos in the face.
He ruined everything.
Because I understand that Star-Lord has a hot fucking temper and he's done it in previous, in the other movies and it's whatever. But at the same time, if I put myself, and I know I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief and all this shit, fuck whatever. I can't imagine. The gauntlet is fucking 3/4 off this fucker's hand. And all he has to do is hold his dick for like 5 more seconds. And then punch him in the face. Take it the gauntlet and then beat the fuck out of the guy. And he can't, for literally 5 seconds, hold that shit off. And it cascades into the entire universe getting fucked in the ass because he couldn't just hold his dick for those 5 seconds.
There's a counter to that. So I felt the same way too. I was like, motherfucker, why would you do that? And there's a lot of fans that are like angry at Chris Pratt because it's like, dude, he didn't write the movie.
Well, of course not.
But listen. This is why when you really think about it and you use your emotion, you take your emotions out of it. Everything when Doctor Strange looked at 14,205 different outcomes,
and there was one outcome that was going to work.
There's only one that he beats him, and that had to happen.
Yeah.
In order for this to go down,
I think in the scenario he saw was that Tony had to live. I think that was the scenario.
Well, no, because that's not true. Because if obviously Tony did have to live, but obviously them defeating Thanos right there and then was not the outcome.
That wasn't
so there's a reason why, and also Doctor Strange wasn't really part of that whole thing. Doctor Strange did a spell where he held him down.
He kind of hit the stone.
He could have easily have rewound what was going on there and said, "Whoa, Star-Lord, don't do that, okay? We're gonna rewind that now. You got out your fudge. We're gonna rewind that shit, and that's not gonna happen." Or he could have stopped him. The thing is that he knew that there was no reason. Now, if they would have taken the gauntlet off, maybe Iron Man would have put it on and did something, or somebody else would have died, which would have screwed the whole thing. There's a reason why all that, and I think we're gonna see more of that in the next movie, where Star-Lord is gonna be like, "What did I do?" There's gonna be a reason for all of this. And you're right. Tony did have to live. That's why he told, I'll give you the stone, right? I'll give you the stone, because he knows that he's going to get the stone regardless, and he knows that there's only one scenario. listen, if the gauntlet came off and there's only one scenario to win, that means that half the universe is dead. So that had to stay on, and it had to go down the way that it did.
I 100%, like, I'm not saying that from the stance that I wanted it to be different in the movie. I'm just saying that from a character's perspective, like, if I'm writing it.
But he's always been that he's the most human Avenger that there is, besides like Spider-Man, you know, because Spider-Man's just so naive and so young, and he hasn't really had that life experience.
Yeah.
Star-Lord is like he's like half a god, half a fucking
human,
half god, with
half
major daddy issues.
Stuck in the 80s, weird, hothead. That's just who he is. So if there was one character on the Avengers that would do something that selfish and that impulsive, it would be Star-Lord. There's no other character. Maybe Drax, if he was just totally zoned in and he just like
Gamora?
and went crazy.
Yeah.
But I agree. When that happened too, even Kayla was sitting beside me. She's like, "What the fuck?" Right? And I was like, "Jesus fuck, Star-Lord." It was right off. But that was part of it. That's part of the drama.
Yeah, I know. I get you.
You know, that's the movie process.
Shout outs to, I think, one of the things that made me laugh the hardest in the movie that I forgot about until now. The Drax and what's her name? Mantis?
Yeah.
Mantis? And the part the combined joke of we could kick names and take ass.
Yeah.
And I fucking died.
Yeah, and he actually had they said the Russo brothers said that Drax, a lot of his stuff was improv. So he had so they're pretty hardcore when it comes to the script. Like, Disney is like, listen,
don't
go
for
Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Don't fuck this up. They kind of give Drax kind of free reign to do not, I wouldn't say free reign, but there's that one part where he was like, who is Gamora or
it's like Chris Pratt comes in and says, "Where is Gamora?" Tony Stark's like,
"I can do you
Who
one
is
better.
Gamora?
Who is Gamora?"
And then he's like, "I got the question of the universe. Why is Gamora?"
Why is
like
Gamora?
that was improv. There was a couple. There was one part where he was talking about his
Theater lost
weight, and
it.
he did the thing with his
The little
neck,
chin in the belly.
and that was improv.
He goes there when Tony's about to kill him. He's like, "I can take it," and everyone's like, "No, he can't."
Gun right in his face. I can take it. It's like, no, you can't. No,
you can't.
No, you can't take that one. So that's gonna be a bad time. So yeah, I mean, Batista was like born to play that role, man. He absolutely kills it, dude. He absolutely kills it. But what a great movie. The more I talk about it, it's just so much fun. That's what going to the movies is all about. Is just blockbuster fun.
I got a question. Not that it would ever happen, but if it did, would it work? Would a Drax Mantis spin-off movie ever work?
No, I don't think.
Or are they only comic relief?
I think. Well, it's sad because Drax was never just comic relief. Like in the first one, he had
actual character building.
He's the muscle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the muscle.
And then in the second one, he turned into this fucking
He's still the muscle.
He's still the muscle, but he's like a one-liner.
Yeah, he's a one-liner
like,
god.
All of a sudden, he's a comedian.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he's not. He's a comedian that he doesn't even know he's a comedian.
Yeah.
Right? He's a straight narrow dude. He
and Mantis are the two what would be autistic spectrum characters in the movie that people that can relate to that shit, or like Asperger's, just zero. So can't read the room. Like just nothing, and
Drax is
just
that character.
Yeah,
that's
sure. that's 100%.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so good.
I loved it. I loved the Spider-Man part where he was kind of drifting off, and the heart that was in that, and especially watching Homecoming where Tony kind of takes him under his wing, and then at the beginning he talks about wanting kids, and you could tell that he really took on this father role with Spider-Man, and then having him sort of die in his hands, and he's like sort of begging, like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go.
They had like a band of brothers asked the end of that shit.
But then at the end, he was like, he's trying to stay strong for Tony as well. He wanted to show him that, like, I'm scared. But then when he knew it was over, he you just felt for him.
It
But
was a
then
good.
again,
It was a
you just
good.
kn-
It's good. Yeah.
You knew that he was going to come back because they're not going to
Of
kill
course.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
especially when they've got the movie, slated.
And it was a bit. It was a bit weird to me because everyone else is disappearing inside of a hot second, and then Spider-Man's death takes like 2 minutes, and it's just like nah. And it's just like slowly fucking sprinkling
It
away,
wasn't
and
2 minutes.
everyone else
but
is like,
it was definitely
dead.
a little longer. Yeah.
No, man. Freaking Bucky held on for a bit. Like, he stumbled up and he was like, I'm not. He's like, Steve.
Bucky took
and the
3
club-
steps and evaporated. What are you talking about? He went, and
He had some
just
lines.
died.
Falcon got screwed. Falcon just
Yeah,
goes
Falcon-
to stand up, just melts away.
Yeah.
And you got like Don Cheadle like, Sam? Sam?
And Groot,
Sam?
when Groot went,
Groot just vaporizes.
Rocket
they said
just looking at him.
they said his line, Groot's line to Rocket was "Dad." That was the last thing that he said.
Yeah.
Because they all have Groot when he's in there. He actually has a script. Like there's words, but you don't actually the
See
words
them.
that are spoken to the characters. And his last word was "Dad" to Rocket. So we found out what that was too. So there's you got to watch. The second time was so much better than the first because the first time you're on edge and you don't know what's going to happen and stuff. And this one I could kind of relax a little bit because I knew it was going to go on, and I could there was things that I picked up on that I didn't pick up on the first viewing, and it was just good. I mean, it's a long movie for sure.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel
didn't
like
feel
it
long.
was. It didn't feel like it was dragging on. It felt like a 2-hour movie, even though it was 2.5 hours. But it was like one that you're okay with sitting in and watching because it was just so much fun
paced
the
it
whole
really
way
well
through.
with the
Does
number of
this
characters.
does this movie make DC's life even more difficult?
DC was not going to have a good time ever because the opening night of this movie was more than the entire Justice League run.
I mean, this movie literally shit on.
Not
me.
So
even
you guys-
the
so
actual
you
opening
guys-
night, the pre-opening
Yeah,
night
you
was more than
guys-
the entire DC run.
You guys saw Justice League. I never did because I heard
I
so
never
much
finished watching
I
Justice
saw-
League.
I saw
got
so
20
much-
minutes in.
just shit about it. I was like, I'm not spending my time or my money going to the theater to watch this shit. So Jeff, I guess I'll ask you, and then whatever Panic can remember, is that from the perspective of people were kind of being quasi sympathetic to DC about how many characters were in the movie, and so yeah, they didn't really do the whole all the characters being in it and getting good screen time, and it wasn't really stitched together all that well. And then we get this movie where there is there more characters in this?
There's way more
Yeah,
characters.
and
I
it
mean,
just
this is
and they just
infinitely more.
and at no point did it feel like it was too.
Well, the problem with DC
We're
wasn't that there
invested
was
in
too
all
many
these
characters.
movies.
It
We're
wasn't that
invested in these
there's-
characters for 10
It wasn't too
years.
many characters. It was just what DC is. They tried to make an Avengers movie without all of the formula before it. The Avengers works because we've watched 19 movies. And even before the
We had
first
a
Avengers,
Captain
we watched
America,
like
we had
8
a
movies,
Thor,
right?
we had an Iron Man.
Well, so
had
we
a
got
bunch
to
of
know
movies,
these
yeah.
characters. And the problem with Justice League is they tried to skip all of the groundwork
two
that was
movies.
laid that the Avengers that Marvel had laid, and they just went right into it. And you know what? Justice League was a complete disaster. It was a failed attempt
It was
at
a
trying
horror
to
show
make
in
an Avengers
editing.
movies. It was just not a good movie. That's just the problem. It was dark. It was confused. It didn't know what it was. It was the only person in there really trying was or two people was like Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck was trying to do his best, and I still think he's a great Batman, but he fucking hates doing them now.
the movies didn't do
Justice League was just not good. It was just
I
not
watched 20 minutes. The projectors died. It was for a press showing. I got up, and when they said, "Oh, we can reschedule," I said, "Look, I saw what I needed to see." And I didn't want to come back to watch it. We even finished watching it. Like
It was a
that's how
mess.
bad the first
It
20
was a
minutes
mess.
were to me. I was
good.
like,
It was a
sorry.
mess.
All right.
No, it was a mess.
Highlight Avengers Infinity War. If you can choose one scene, what's your highlight?
Why is Gamora?
Okay. All right.
I lost my shit.
I have to go with Thor coming down with the Stormbreaker and
That too.
just where is Thanos? That was just you could feel you could just and it was the music that was playing and the lightning that was coming off and Rocket on his shoulder and everybody like looking up like, oh fuck, you're fucked now, Thanos. here comes Thor,
and
right?
you think about how far this motherfucker like traveled. Like you don't. It's a jump cut, right? So you don't get like how the shit did they get here. It's just assumed that he spun that
used
fucking
the
axe and threw himself across
He
the
used the fucking
universe.
Bifrost.
God, man, yeah,
Use the fucking Bifrost, which you can't do unless you have that much power.
Yeah, he's
Just
a
threw
he's
himself
a god, literally.
across
It's like
the
just
universe.
a god coming down and just fucking up, and he fucked him up too, man. Just straight up through the shit. And Thanos was fucked.
Yeah.
Then he's like, "Should've got me in the face.
My
Should've
hype
got me in the-"
moment, and I thought what they did, and I don't know what he talked about it yet. I guess I'll just toss this in because I don't want to talk about this movie too much longer. But the way that they handled Hulk in this movie, where you knew that ultimately Thor had to be the muscle in this movie, and they've relied on the Hulk basically every other time to solve all their problems. It's like, even the gods can't kill this fucker. We have a Hulk. And they even use that line in the opening scene of the movie is like, here comes Loki.
We have a Hulk.
We have a Hulk. And then Hulk
That
gets
was a
his
cool
shit
scene. Oh, he
kicked
gets beat the fuck.
to the point where he's scared to come
Yeah,
out
he's not coming out.
of Bruce
Yeah.
Banner. And he just, no!
He's like,
And-
"What?
and
No,
Bruce is like,
come
what
on."
do you mean, no, you fucking asshole? Why now?
Yeah, you
Like,
big green asshole, come out now. I need you. And
Exactly.
he never does.
he never does.
I guarantee, like in the next movie, obviously, that's when we'll come out. Some people think that you're going to see the Gray Hulk come out, or the Red Hulk come out.
When
There's
I
all kinds
watched-
of different things.
When I watched that opening scene, and I don't know who the character was, because again, I think he was probably a Black Panther character that I wouldn't know, but the guy who sends him off the ship or wherever the hell they are, Hulk.
Oh,
back to Earth.
that's Idris Elba's
Heimdall.
Yeah, he's from Thor.
Oh, okay,
He's-
so that's
he's
okay.
He's the gatekeeper. Like,
Right,
he's the
okay,
guy
so-
that-
You usually see him in like full golden armor and
Oh,
Yeah.
him. Okay, so I didn't
Yeah.
recognize.
shit. He's
that-
the one who
that-
controlled the light bridge, the Bifrost.
So
if you
when
saw
I,
Ragnarok, you'll know why they're in the predicament. That
right,
they're in.
exactly. But I thought, because of my vague knowledge of
Foundations
comic
were not
book,
strong.
not all that strong. I thought we were going to be getting like some Space Hulk type shit, or like or World Eater Hulk or whatever the fuck they called him, where he just,
Ragnarok explains where Hulk was and what was going on, which makes Hulk make a lot more sense.
Well,
Yeah.
in the comics, it's actually Silver Surfer that is the one that gets thrown into Doctor Strange's sanctum and goes
Yeah.
through the stairs and warns the Avengers that Thanos is coming. Silver Surfer isn't in these movies,
Because
so
of
they made
Fantastic
it that
Four.
it's Thor, or sorry, that it's the Hulk. That Bruce Banner, that is the one that flies down, that gets sent
World
down.
Breaker Hulk. That's who
is,
I thought we were getting a setup for that, and then when he ended up on
No.
Earth, I was like,
they
oh,
covered
okay. all right.
they covered the World War Hulk stuff with in Ragnarok.
Okay.
And they explained it in the context of the movie universe,
Right.
which is similar but a little different.
Yeah.
It wasn't as messed up what happened to this Hulk as
Right.
what happened to World War Hulk. Because
Okay.
in the comics, what ends up happening is like Tony Stark and a bunch of other people, the Illuminati decide too dangerous, and they send him off into space.
Yeah.
But in this one, he stays on the ship and goes.
All
So
right.
we're gonna
He made
have
the
Captain
controversy.
Marvel coming, which
Yep.
is gonna be probably the big thing that is gonna turn the tide for them, because she is the strongest Avenger, or the one with the most power. Even outdoing Thor in terms of abilities. So she's going to be a big one, and I'm sure the Hulk will be back. He'll have some kind of conclusion.
It was fun when
what was
Thor
going on.
comes down and he lands and he screams where is Thanos and or bring me Thanos or whatever the fuck, and
I
then
think it is Bring Me Thanos.
and
yeah.
and Hulk is in the Hulkbuster suit, and he takes it down and he uses the line like along the lines of, oh, you're all fucked now, like you can see like Bruce getting excited about it when normally it would be Bruce in that
He'd be
in
the
that
one that'd be-
position where
yeah,
everyone's
he'd be
like,
the one
oh,
that's
you
coming in.
fucked up now, here comes the big green guy, and now
Yeah,
it's
you
like
pissed
Bruce
him
getting to be in that role was kind of like a
I
little fun
like
moment.
that they did the Hulk the way they did, because they got to give Bruce a lot of screen time in a way.
Yeah.
And you got to see him play his character, because he was in Ragnarok too, and
he was in a lot of Ragnarok.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like it's nice that they're giving him as a character outside of just the Hulk.
Yeah.
like screen time. It was fun to watch, especially when they put him in the Hulkbuster armor the way they did.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
like,
it was
he was
kinda
like a
fun.
pig. He's like, this is
The thing that
awesome.
beat him up before, right?
Yeah,
He's like, I
exactly.
can. He's like, I now know
Yeah.
what it's like to be him without being him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
That
it's like
was
being
cool.
the Hulk. Without they just trips and falls, and it's just so good,
Yeah.
just fucking amazing.
Everyone's just like, oh god.
So yeah, between that and then the
How about that Cap entrance, man? The when in the train station when you know the Cap is in the fucking shadows and
Yeah,
you know Vision and
that was pretty
Scarlet
good.
are getting beat up, and then all of a sudden you hear and they both look over and fucking
Here's
the baddies look over.
Captain Beard.
And there he is, and he just steps out of the shadows, get the fucking grizzly beard on. And it's
I
like,
think
oh,
he's the
fuck,
most.
it's
I
just
think
black
he's the
suit,
most
the black-
jacked in
the
this
black
movie
suit.
of,
Yeah.
of all the
Yeah.
movies he's been in. He's been the
Oh,
he's the most jacked in this one.
Oh, it was badass as fuck, and then
Yeah.
they had the music playing in the background. Dun, 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 dun,
All right,
dun.
somebody. I
was
know
like,
it's covered.
ah.
I know it's covered in a movie that I'll inevitably end up watching. But what's her name? Wanda, I think was her. Is her
Scarlet Witch.
her name?
Scarlet
Okay,
Witch.
Scarlet Witch. All right, somebody give me the Cliff Notes
a mutant.
version
She's a mutant.
of
She's
what
one
her
of the
powers
X-Men.
are all about. Okay.
She's Magneto's daughter.
Ah.
So her power is actually really weird. The
You don't say.
the less likely, so it's all probability based. So the less likely something can happen, the more power she has to make it happen. Which is why the
That's
Infinity
crazy.
Stone. Yeah, so that's why she can do all the things she can do.
Right.
And that's why the improbability of someone being able to destroy the Infinity Stones
is like zero.
is why she's able to destroy the
it.
Infinity Stones.
Oh, okay. That's a cool power.
And
Hats
she's
off-
super strong. She's
Hats
super
off to whoever
strong,
the
like-
fuck came up
yeah.
with that character. That's a unique ass fucking character trait right
Well,
there.
she had
It's
a
like-
brother. She had a brother too, and he died in the
Quicksilver.
Yeah, Quicksilver.
Oh, that's
They're-
Quicksilver's sister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sister, the
Ah.
brother and sister. And in this movie, they completely got rid of her Russian accent. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but she had
Yeah.
a thick Russian accent in the first
In
first
this-
movie, and then in the next one it wasn't as thick, and then this one gone. Just
In this
bye-bye.
universe, though, and someone actually raised in chat, it's a good point. In the comics, her powers are all probability based. In this universe, her powers are derived from Loki's staff and the Mind Stone.
Oh.
Which effectively, but again, she's directly derived from the Infinity
But
Stone.
isn't the staff also capable of like fucking with the stones anyway? So that's kind
Exactly.
of like
That's why it's kind of like she effectively maintains like it's a different origin, but it's still probability manipulation.
right.
So Vulcus asks wants to know why Black Widow went blonde in this movie. So there's two reasons why. I'll give you both reasons. So number one, why
She feels
she's blonde,
sexier.
and number two, why Scarlet Witch did not have a Russian accent is what the Russo brothers said is they went because she was Scarlet Witch was being trained by what's her face Black Widow to be an assassin, right? To be undercover, to be to do like sort of special ops type shit.
What
So-
she does basically.
So what she does. So essentially what both of them were doing is they were undercover. They were kind of blending in. So she got rid of her Russian accent because it's such a distinctive feature that she had. So she lost it purposely. Or she wasn't speaking with a Russian accent purposely. And then also with Scarlet or fuck, I keep forgetting Black
Widow.
She dyed her hair because they were out doing other things.
yeah.
Well,
Now-
they were all in hiding too.
In hiding.
because of
what
Civil
the
War.
events that happened in Civil War. That's the reason why the government was like, "Oh, you motherfuckers, what are you doing here? Like,
That's why
arrest these
Captain
guys."
America's in black
So they were
armor. And
they
all
were
that.
all undercover doing their own thing. Now, the argument to that, and I think the real reason why they got rid of Scarlet Witch's accent is because it just really wasn't. It wasn't good. It was like it wasn't that she did a bad job at doing a Russian accent. It just felt
It didn't fit.
out of place. It didn't fit. And so I think they're using that as an excuse, but then you would actually counteract that and say, well, okay, you're undercover and you don't want people to know, but why weren't you talking in your native accent when you're with the Vision in behind closed doors? So when you were in your home with Vision and you're just walking around talking with Vision, you wouldn't be talking with your English accent. You'd be talking, or your American accent, you'd be talking in your Russian accent, because there's no need. You're not out in public. You're not doing all these other things. So people were just really what it was. The Russo brothers just didn't didn't like it, and fans were even saying that we don't really like her Russian accent, so they just axed it, and that was their excuse.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I didn't even notice it really until
I feel like
was
we're
really
reaching.
thinking
I
about
feel
it.
like we're reaching points in which the only people that would
We're
be truly
stretching.
pissed off are the people that are like diehard comic readers that want to be as accurate as humanly possible.
Yeah.
To the character, which is perfectly fair. For sure. So there you have it. Here, this is how we'll cap it. Rating out of 10, Mr. Black.
I mean, in terms of a Marvel movie, I mean, I have to give it. Man, I can't give it a perfect rating because it's not when I watch the next part and I can really, it's almost like people are calling it the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel universe. I wouldn't even go that far, but
It's a middle movie that didn't feel like a middle movie.
exactly, it definitely stands on its own. I'm gonna go and give it a 9.5 out of 10. And I'm only going to take off half the point because we haven't seen a conclusion. I thought that the way that they faded out a lot of the heroes, the impact wasn't as big because we know what their projects are coming over the next 3 years. So we know that these characters are going to come back regardless. So that just doesn't hold as much weight. But in terms of just a fun, good time at the theater, it's it's a 10 out of 10 for entertainment, but I'm not going to give it a 10.
That's
I
not
have to
10
go
out of
just
10 as a movie, it's
9.5,
just a
right?
good movie.
Yeah, it's a great time. 9.5.
Yeah,
For what it is.
I think you have to separate, as much as you might not want to. You have to separate movies like the Avengers from like a regular, like a more standard movie from a from a critiqued perspective. Just because you're not going to it to see even though there can be good acting and whatever in these movies, that's not necessarily why you're going
Go and throw
to
some
these.
popcorn in your face, have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, I mean, I don't think there was much to be said against the acting or the writing or anything in this movie. I'm giving it a fucking 10. I don't give a fuck.
Woo!
I don't give a fuck.
10?
I'm giving it a 10.
Damn.
I mean, you know why? You know why?
I'm not hating on that.
You know why?
that.
Because it entertained me more than any other movie I've seen in a long time. It entertained me in a way that I was hoping Star Wars was going to entertain me, and then Star Wars just fell on its face,
broke your heart.
broke its own dick and just curled up in a
breaking
ball
my heart, Star Wars.
and just died. So in ways that in that respect, I'm now more excited for the next part of this movie than I am for the next Star Wars film.
You're
and you
excited
should-
enough that you're going to go back and watch some of the other movies.
And
You should go back and watch
I'll
the
watch
movies you didn't
Ragnarok
see,
and
yeah.
I'll watch Civil War at the very least. Those are the two that I've wanted
Those
to
two
go
you
back and
have to
see.
Yeah.
So I've wanted to go back to see those, and I'm sure Gabs will be down for watching those as well, because Thor is a hot piece of male ass. Let's all be honest here. You can't get away with that shit. Oh, shout outs. One last thing that I'm listening for, passing on Panic for his rating. Shout outs to whatever genius for all the females in the audience when Thor is holding open the fucking door for the sun beam to come in, and it was just an excuse for
to
Chris
flex on him?
Hemsworth to just fucking gun show. Sun's out, guns out, and he fucking just pounds
Literally, sun's out.
literally sun's out, guns out, double bicep, and his arms are the size of my fucking torso. He's
They
just
got the Chris Evans shot for that in one movie.
The Chris Evans, I think, had bigger buys, honestly.
Yeah, Chris
When
Evans
he
had
was
that in
holding the
Civil War.
helicopter, when he held the helicopter back.
Yeah, he has.
I think was that Civil War?
It was
No,
that Civil War, Winter
that was
Soldier.
that was
Was it
Winter Soldier. It's Winter Soldier.
He's holding the fucking
Oh,
shit.
he's
His
got-
bicep like a pow. It's like,
Hemsworth
Chris-
was like, I need one of those scenes.
Chris Evans.
I gotta
Chris,
flex.
Chris Evans was in terms of the arm. Chris Evans fucking Hemsworth has a better overall arm, but Chris
The bicep.
but Evans has he's weighted his bicep. He's one of those guys where he's bicep heavy as fuck. Like he's got he looks like he spends more time at the gym doing his bicep than any other part of his body.
Yeah.
So genetically speaking, he probably just doesn't have great triceps. So like his biceps just fucking monstrous. And then Hemsworth though was just thick ass
Hemsworth's
arms,
just the whole arm.
just thick
Dude,
ass arms.
he's got like a third tricep in a place that you didn't even know it existed. It's like, what the fuck is that, dude? It's like an ass cheek
He's
on
got
a
like an
shoulder.
extra.
You're
He's got
what
like
the
an
fuck?
extra head of a tricep. He's got like a
Dude,
horseshoe plus more. It's just
No,
like this.
legit. Like legit, it's got
Yeah,
like 3 bumps
sure.
there. You're going, what the fuck is that? Does he got a cyst there? No, that's just
No.
more muscle.
Just ran it out. The only
Muscle on muscle.
other person I think that might be more jacked than Hemsworth is what's his face who plays Superman but he's in the new Mission Impossible movie.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
For that movie, that dude looks like he is the size of a fucking house. That dude
his
is
shoulders are absolutely gigantic. Dude, you couldn't walk through my door.
No!
Like, you have to go sideways.
Sideways. He'd
Like-
still
Big
have
guy,
some
big
issues.
guy.
Oh, and doesn't that movie look so sick, dude? The Mission
It does,
Impossible
it
movies
does.
are amazing.
Whoever
This one
did
looks
the
raw as
remix,
fuck, dude.
for the song
Oh,
in that
it's so
trailer
good.
was fire.
Get down with the sickness.
It's
You're
good.
like, oh shit. And that scene where he's in the bathroom and he's like,
Yeah, he's fighting them, and he's just
it's
fucking
like, oh
huge.
my god, dude.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
wait, like
shit.
if I saw a dude that big just fucking like shake his arms out ready to pound me, I'd just be like,
Yeah,
all right, I'm dead.
That's like a bear, dude. It was like
Yeah.
it was like watching a bear just go.
And of course, it helps.
like-
it helps that he's gonna fight like all 5'7" of fucking Tom
but
Cruise.
the guy's huge, dude. And it swings. You're like, god damn.
Yeah,
those,
that's
are- those
heavy
are like
swings.
death punches, bro.
He's
Those
got to
are
get
death
all
punches.
of that DC rage out of his system.
Yeah,
That's
he's
what
got
it
to
was,
get that
man.
out.
He was like,
It's
he's got this
it's
crazy
the mustache. It gave him
It's
the
the
power.
mustache, dude.
The
It
mustache
really
gave him
was
the
the mustache.
power. He's like
Yeah.
Samson with the hair, except mustache. That's his power source.
That's gonna be a good movie, man. That's gonna be a really good movie.
Yeah, I
can't
haven't
wait.
given a fuck about Mission Impossible in ages. I'm probably gonna have to see that
dude,
one.
The
It looks
last
good.
one was
Dude,
Fire.
Rogue Nation was
Oh.
phenomenal.
Good.
it was so good.
Well, maybe
it was
I'll
so
maybe
good.
I'll go back and check that
Oh,
one
you
out
definitely
too.
got to at least watch the
Actually,
last one, bro.
The last two were really good.
The last two were really good. The Ghost Protocol was really, that was when they really started going crazy, and you're like, oh fuck.
Rogue
okay,
Nation, Ghost
it's-
Protocol 3
Yeah,
were
it's
all
like
good.
it's like the Fast and the Furious franchise. Like the shit's just getting crazier, but better.
Yeah, crazy.
You know what I mean? It's like, god
when they
damn.
gave Tom Cruise like creative control and stunt control back, they're like, all right, we got the formula.
You have to at least watch the last one, man. I couldn't believe the action in this shit, and it's like it's raw action. It's like, god damn.
It's like classic 90s action.
It's really good, man. It's really, really good.
All
That's why
right.
I'm so excited for this one.
Okay. Well, that's it for movies and TV. We're gonna move on to tech support real quick. Get out a couple of bad boys. This comes in from Romar, who is a brand new
Oh,
$10 pledger.
oh,
Welcome.
We got some new money.
Thank you, Romar. He said, "Hey Jeff, did you already get your key pals? Hashtag Oriental Nights."
No, not yet. No, not yet. I've had a few people come into my stream and ask me that too. That's
Let's see what else we got.
Watch
We've had-
Cobra Kai while you order it.
We've
There
had
you go.
we've had the death row last meal question about 49,000
Yeah,
times.
I'm not answering it again.
No, no.
I've been on death row number too many times. We're good.
Yeah, we can handle that. Or keep that in the back. What is this? What? Oh, this is a crazy question. All right, I don't have the brain power for this right now, but ironically, because this guy's name is Brain Doc Dre, $100 lifetime supporter. Let's go. Said, you hear the sirens blaring, and then you see the paratroopers. It's Red Dawn, and the commies are attacking Canada because why not? Because he says because reasons. They're coming after our maple syrup stash, out west. They're coming for the he says they're coming for the poutine and your lives. You're all together in Jeff's basement with a cache of Cold War military supplies.
We've
What's
gotten this
your
question too?
What's your weapon of choice and strategy? Decide together. Well, we've had a similar
We've had a
similar
very
thing.
similar one where you had to pick a weapon and.
I'm just gonna choose. I'll choose a sidearm, and I'll choose some sort of mid-range rifle. Get some food supplies, and then hide in the nearest tree, and then never leave. Just hope to God nobody finds me.
Are you capable of climbing a tree?
I basically just have to kind of like lift a leg. It's not really a big
okay.
deal. I'm not technically climbing. I'm just kind of stepping up
Can we
into
just
the tree.
disguise you as the tree?
That's also a distinct possibility. Just give me like a ghillie suit, and I could just like stand
Be
out
a
in the
tall
open.
shrubbery.
Yeah, just some like a tall shrub in somebody's front yard.
I'm getting a samurai sword.
Yeah, let's go.
That's real
Fuck
Cold
it.
War era, Jeff.
That is. You can always have a samurai
I'm
sword.
going samurai sword. Don't give a shit. I'm gonna live and die by the sword. And if I'm being surrounded, I will say, "Do my safety."
Very honorable.
Very honorable.
All right, Panic, what about you?
I'll take a friggin' AK.
All right. Well, of course, everyone always wants to take an AK.
Why not?
Bury it in the dirt.
Yeah.
Grab it.
It'll
100
still
years
work.
Later, still working.
Still works. Let's see. Martin asks, he's 65. Whoa, okay, hold on now. Martin is a 65 lifetime, current pledge 100. So he stepped up. He is now into the 100 sheet, which
All right,
means
Martin.
We're doing
which
something
means
right.
my sheet is going to be inaccurate, so I'll use the website to make sure that we include Martin in the ending credits here. He asks, have you ever gone overboard with a hobby? I myself fell down the rabbit hole with Lego Dimensions, and now I own every single set.
Oof.
It's a lot of Lego. Not that there's a problem with owning Lego. You hold that onto that shit till you have kids, and then just run wild.
I would think probably for me is
Backwall.
retro video game collecting.
You don't say.
Probably.
You don't say.
I mean, that's 2 seasons right there, and this is just one wall. There's still another
There's
area.
more stuff out in the
another
other
part.
room.
So, but you know, I managed to do it because I can make content from it, and you know, it's almost all for free now. It's a fun hobby, but definitely that's definitely something that I've gone overboard. Like I knew it was a problem one day where Kayla was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to pick up some more games." And I mean, at this point, I was picking up games like every other day. And I come
Hold on
home,
one
and
second,
she
I
went
gotta
out.
get
The
something.
whole garage.
She went out to the gym or something. Oh no, that was a bad one
That
too.
was a bad one, yeah.
but that was the worst. That was the worst one. I'm still going through that shit. But this is the first time where I knew I had a problem. I come home and I went over to this guy's house. Or first I went over to this guy's house to go pick up. It was like Super Nintendo with a couple games. I get there, I had like $80 in my pocket. The guy was asking $60. I get there and I go in. I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I test out the games?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So plugging in, I realize he's got a Nintendo. I see he's got a Wii and some games, some GameCube. He's got all kinds of shit just chilling at his like entertainment system. I'm like, you want to sell any of this other stuff? And he's like, "Nah, man, no, it's not for sale. It's not for sale." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. But there's a couple of Nintendo games I need. Do you mind if I just take a look?" And he's like, "Sure." So I take a look, and I'm like, "You know, I know you don't want to sell any of this stuff, but if I had to ask, like, how much would you want if I were to buy like all of your gaming stuff?" Right. And at this point he told me he was saving up some money to go on a trip or whatever. So I knew he needed money. So he was like, "Yeah, you know, not really for sale." And I was like, "Well, you know, I got to run to the store and grab some more money. I didn't have enough, even though I did have enough for the Super Nintendo stuff." I was like, "I want you to think about it." I go to the bank machine. I grab, it was like $400 in total. And I go to his table, to his kitchen table, and I'm like, "Listen, for all of your gaming stuff," and there was a fuck ton. I was like, "This is what I'll do for you, and you can just say yes or no. You know, if you say no, that's fine. I'll just grab the stuff I came for." And then I use that trick where you just slow roll it. You're like, "I'll give you 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20,
in
40,
20s,
60,
bro?
80, 2, 20,
Uh,
40,
Oh,
60, 80, 3. The longer you take, psychologically, you
the
think there's more
likely,
money.
yeah.
And I just kept going all the way till I hit 400. I was like, "I'll give you $400 for everything." He looked at me. He said, "All right, I'll pack it up." And he took it and he got all these garbage bags. And then he went to his room and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff in here. You can just take it because now you pretty much took all my stuff." Guy came out with like a Sega, came out with another PS3, a PS2, a bunch of games, bunch of Guitar Hero stuff. I come home and I put it all on the floor. There's a picture of it, I think, on Instagram somewhere. And I'm laying in garbage bags filled with video games. I mean, there's garbage bags all over my dining room. And I'm just laying there. And the wife comes in. She's like, "You're fucked." And I'm like, "Yeah." And at that point, I knew I was addicted to it. And I've just gone ape shit crazy. And I even picked up games tonight. So I'm still doing it. And yard sales tomorrow morning.
Yeah, for me, I've never had like coincidentally, I mean, my biggest or one of my biggest hobbies just turned into being, you know, what I do for a living. So I'll always
That's
go
going pretty
over,
overboard.
like I go overboard with tech, right? Like tech is my vice. So I'll go overboard with that shit.
And then you'll tell us it's not overboard. This guy.
Well,
can't
it's
admit it.
definitely. Oh
He's
well.
like, well,
oh,
no, well, you know,
my biggest
I
excuse.
sold a couple things.
My
and-
biggest excuse is that at the very least, you know, it's kind of like you with the retro stuff. Is that at the very least, if you're selling what you already have for a reasonable amount of money, and then on top of that, we can write off tax wise a lot and HST on top of that. Like you can justify some pretty expensive shit. I just on top of that have a huge vice for tech stuff.
And missed.
And missed, yes, missed. That's a big. I still don't give a fuck. I'm so happy I got in on that missed hype. So I guess my outside of that, I had this weird short-term Pokemon kick here last year.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
their-
weird, bro.
Their
That was all
20th
the
their
cards.
20th anniversary thing where I wanted all the pins for the 20th anniversary, and I have like the t-shirt that was the 20th anniversary. Like I had the whole collection. So basically I could just put it all together and I have like the set of shit with it. I don't think I have all the cards, but I'm pretty damn close. Anyway. And that was weird and random and expensive. And like I
I go
thought
on your
about
stream
it.
and you're opening up Pokemon packs on like a daily basis. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
it was
fuck is
it
he
was
smoking?
it was
It was
weird.
his Counter-Strike.
It was really odd. Like I still don't understand. Like I thought about this the other day because I'm packing up, right? So I came across my pins and I have the pins all in a specific place because eventually I'm gonna like build like a little display case and have them all laid out or whatever and do like a Pokemon 20th anniversary kind of set thing.
Shadow box.
Yeah, and so I have them. I came across them. Yeah, kind of like Panic's got back there with some pins, probably from events and shit or whatever. So
yeah, those are my gold event pins, and I got normal pins over here.
yeah, so I was gonna do something like that. So I have them. So I came across them when I'm doing my packing the other day, and I stopped and I really thought about it, and I was like, I had like an out of body experience. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? What the hell was this shit? You
And they ain't
spent,
cheap, man.
you
Pokemon
spend-
cards ain't cheap.
bro. I spent an easy grand on the cards to get all the pins and shit. I'd say somewhere between 700 and 1,000 is probably the total spread over the course of like 9 months because it was a year-long thing, right? Like it went the whole 20th year, and I was just like, I just stopped. I was like, what the fuck was that about? Because like I'll get on kicks like that with cards sometimes, and it's been a really long time since I had that happen. Like I think I was
Your brain's
just
like, I need a hit.
starting. Yeah, like I was just starting summer camp stuff when I had my last collectible card kick, and so it was a long time coming, and it just happened, and I never thought about it when I was in the midst of it, and then I found it packing shit up, and I was like,
You're
what
addicted.
the fuck?
You were addicted to the opening.
Just the opening and the
packs.
pins and shit. I was like, what? Like, and I was getting to the point, bro, where I was standing in this Toys R Us looking at the various packs and the pins that you could see to see if there were flaws in the fucking pins because I was collecting these pins. I was that deep. I'd be seeing like enamel pieces like missing. I was like, nah, I ain't good enough. And just fucking tossing that shit aside.
Sure, just went on eBay and bought the fucking pins.
Well, that was just it, right? Like hindsight 2020, and looking back at it, like, why didn't you just go buy some fucking pins on eBay? You did, but if I did that, I wouldn't get the cards. I wouldn't have the opening experience, and like that's part of the problem too. And it's just bad. It was like crack.
But I also wouldn't have this regret now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I maybe would have been able to justify this like $1,300 missed purchase that I just did
Exactly. I'm sure you'd trade in those Pokemon cards for that
in a
missed
hot
package and
fucking second.
2 seconds
Gone.
flat. Take them. Take them all.
Get this shit out of my
Take-
sight.
Take
Give me
the
that
fucking
mist.
pins with you. Give me the fucking mist thing, please.
Give
I'll
me
buy
the mist
pins
thing.
later.
Yeah, so that was my latest thing. But my biggest vice is, honest to God, just tech. I mean, I've gotten good about it because I came close last year to buying a new TV for the living room. I came close, and then I stopped myself because I was like, Adam, don't be fucking stupid now. Come on,
Slow
bro.
this roll.
Like you need to slow the fuck down. This TV has got at least 3 more years in it. Don't be that guy. Don't
Don't be that guy.
Don't do it. My TV is so fire. It's such a good fucking TV. I don't need to do it, but I almost did because I walked into that fucking Satan's shop downtown for me, Peak Audio, with
Stay
like
away from peak audio.
that
You
is
gotta have
a
fat
bad
bank,
place for me.
and you gotta have and you gotta be able to just say no, and it's impossible. To say no
Impossible.
to things.
you're
Impossible.
watching
You're in
and
such a
listening.
fire store.
Yeah, you just can't.
like,
Sat
can't do
down,
it.
listened to that
Stay away.
$130,000 sound setup,
Stay
and I
away
went,
from it.
ah. And then I went into the next room, and he was like, "Let me show you some TVs." I was like, "Oh fuck, you're speak dirty to me. Oh God, yeah, talk it. Don't stop. And he like showed me that Samsung QLED TV, and it looks so fucking good. And I was just, it looks so good. It made me think that my TV at home looked shit. Then I went back and I saw, and I went back and I watched something on my TV, and I went, wait a minute, no, my TV ain't shit at all.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing? No, we don't need to be buying
Dude,
a.
I'm not gonna buy a TV for years.
Well, you've got
The
a really new
the
TV
LG
too.
OLED TVs are
Yeah.
the fucking shit. They are amazing.
It's just incredible. Every time I turn it on, I'm just like, ugh.
Oh yeah, please, like I'm about to give you the money to get that shit tuned though. You got like
Dude,
this
I
six.
tried
You've got
last
like
year.
this 6,000. Well, now that it's been used more, they'll probably be like, okay, we can do that now. But
Yeah.
like, you got this $6,000 TV that needs to be calibrated to enjoy it in all of its true glory, and you've just been like dodging it like a champion.
See, you want to know subconsciously, I didn't get it done yet, so that in a couple of years, when I'm starting to think the TV isn't fire
Just
anymore,
gonna do
I
it.
get it calibrated, and then I'm going, oh, fuck! It's like a whole new TV. They got an upgrade for free for $300. Woo!
You know
That's
what's
it right
funny
there.
though? You know what's funny though? I had mine recalibrated a couple, like 3 or 4 months ago, because it'd been like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years since I had it done, and it was a pretty substantial change. And I was like, oh, okay, no, we're good. That was definitely, you'll definitely fucking experience
yeah.
it, because I was going from calibrated to calibrated, just as it obviously
I
TVs
just did it
change over
myself.
time. Well, I mean, I don't like. I could go buy a spider or whatever the fuck I want to use and like do it. Fuck that shit, bro. Get somebody who knows
Pay
what
the
they're
professional
doing.
in, get it
Have
I
him
done.
come
already have
over.
the spider.
And just like I could do it, but he's gonna do it better. I'm telling you right now, this
Yeah.
guy, the guys at Peak Audio are a bunch of nerds that are on a whole nother level. That I could spend 400 hours teaching myself the ins and outs.
They're
I
on the
still fuck it
spectrum
out.
for TVs. I'll
Yes,
tell you that.
exactly,
They're on the
100%.
spectrum for TVs.
And they love it, which is the important part. They're so into it, and they come over and they're excited to do this shit. And he saw my TV and he was like, "Holy shit, I haven't got to do one of these like fucking plasmas in forever. This is fucking sick." And then he spent like 3 hours in my living room. We were talking about TVs and shit while he's calibrating, and we were watching movies on it and shit. And he's like, "Dude, this TV still looks so dope." I was like, "Yeah, other than having to be in a pitch black room, because plasmas don't do well in well lit rooms. Like, this TV is still fire." He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Holy shit, I didn't think it would look this good." And he's that guy. So fuck doing it myself. I'd make a mess of it. If I'm gonna get it done by somebody who knows what they're fucking doing, for sure. Panic. What's your vice? What's your last thing? You've got something in your hands there. Ah, yes, a Gundam. You're a models guy.
Oh yeah.
You're a models guy.
I just realized my camera's friggin' mirrored too. But yeah. No, this is like actually the Holy Grail one that I will build eventually. I've actually had this one for a while. It's a perfect grade kit. I have like 5 other ones that are of a lesser grade, master grade, which I'm gonna build first. But like I got this one as like this is the one that I want to be able to build.
So there's a grade above master.
Yeah, this is perfect. So like a
Ah.
master grade will go for like 80, like anywhere from like 60 to $100 maybe. $100 are for the crazy ones. This guy usually goes for around like 400. The only reason I picked it up now and like super early was I saw a deal for 275, so I'm like done. Like I'll leave it in my closet. I
So
have
what
another-
is the difference between master grade and perfect grade?
So master grade is 1/100 and usually about yay tall. All the ones in my
So
cabinet,
6-inch basically.
no, they're about 8 or 9 inch.
Oh, okay.
Black
and
dick.
Black
inches.
dick size.
Those are all the ones in my cabinet are master grade.
Okay.
Perfect grade would be usually about a foot or more. They're 1
Mandingo.
to 60. Yeah, Mandingo size.
More
and-
black.
And the
Full
part
black.
count.
Blacker.
The part count is like an order of magnitude more.
Okay.
So like a master grade entire body is what's in the leg of a perfect grade.
Ah. So the amount of time spent is also dramatically increased.
So like I can build a master grade over a weekend, and if I wanted to paint it, it's just a second weekend. If I do a perfect grade, it's going to be many weekends. I can probably do like a leg in a day.
So how many of these bad boys do you have currently in your possession?
I have 2 perfect grades in my closet. Those are the only 2 I'm ever going to get until I'm done building these 2. The rest are just master grades, and I can belt out master grades. I got the skill set for them, but there's some things I want to learn on painting and some other build techniques I want to try out before I go. Because these perfect grades, I'm going to do like full custom paint. I'm not just going to build them. So like these are like for me, it's like an evolutionary thing where I'm like I know where I want to end up, so I'm working my way towards it. So like I haven't had a lot of time to build them, but like I've done like I do try to do like a master grade at least once a quarter. So hopefully I'll get to this either by the end of this year or early next year.
Are you wearing an NASL T-shirt underneath that?
Yeah, I am.
Sweet.
Panic is the only person I know that would break out
Dude,
their no the Gundam
I wear
thing.
the NASL sweater like at least once a week.
Panic is
Yeah,
Panic
dude,
is
that
the,
sweatshirt is great.
Yeah.
Panic is the only person I know that would break out how often they do their Gundams into a quarterly statement, like it's a fucking accounting thing. It's like, yeah,
It is for me. Like it's about a time I have because like for one of those things I have to like when I go to build. And for me, it's a stress relief thing. It's something I do completely away from computers. So like
It's a hobby. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's a hobby,
I turn on the stereo. I clear off my entire kitchen table. I lay down the modeling equipment, the gear, and then I go through the process. So it's like for me, it's like it's like I gotta get into the mood.
Yeah.
So like for me, I know when I have time to kind of do that thing because it's like if I'm building a kit, my entire kitchen table is not usable for like until that kit's done. So I have to kind of like plan it out.
Well, there you go.
All right. Well, there it
There
is,
you go.
boys. You all know our hobby vices.
I don't think there's any. Let's see. Okay, this is a short enough one. This is easy enough. We'll end on this one. It comes in from Corey, 140 lifetime. Let's go.
Thanks, Cole.
He says, what is one thing that you do every day that if you don't do it for any reason, it makes your day feel off? I have a couple of things.
I've started drinking lemon water in the morning. Like I'll put like a glass of water with lemon juice into the fridge overnight, and then I wake up in the morning. And the first thing I do is drink it. I thought it wouldn't do anything, but I've actually like haven't been doing it the past couple of days because I ran out of lemon juice. And I've been like, you know what? I don't feel that great. I don't feel as good as I usually do. So like I actually went out and got lemon juice again. So I'm like, all right, let's do that.
Okay. For me, okay, I have a couple of things. I have to wind down at the end of the day. It doesn't even matter what time it is, how long I've been working, whatever. I have to at least watch like an episode or something of a show or something. I have to spend somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour doing something outside of my office space every day before bed, or I just feel off, or I can't sleep. It takes me forever.
Context.
Yeah, like it takes me forever to fall asleep. And then the other thing is, every night before I walk upstairs, I turn the light on to look down the stairs to see if I've locked the door. And even if I know I've locked the door, I have to go over, flick the light on, see that I've locked the door. And if I don't do that, it's like a habit now. If I don't do that, I've had nights where I'm just about to fall asleep, and then it dawns on me that I never fucking looked to see if I had locked the door, even though I know the door is fucking locked. And I will get out of bed and go downstairs and check to see if I've locked the door. I have to do that shit. I don't know if it's because like one day I caught myself and I hadn't locked the door, or like something happened. I don't know, but now it's become like so habitual. Every single night I have to do that before I go upstairs. And sometimes I'll do it twice. I'll like, if I'm really tired, I'll flick the light on and then flick it off really quick, like just to see if it's locked. But like if I don't register it, if I'm tired, I'm flicking the light on again. So if people are on my street looking in the direction of my house at certain times of the night, it probably looks like I'm trying to signal a drug dealer. Like the time is now. Like I'm like doing like fucking Morse code with
flick.
Yeah, Morse code with my light and trying to like see my door being locked or not. So those are some things. Oh, and locking my car, because fuck Toyota. They, for whatever reason, they don't have an auto lock feature in this RAV. So if you leave your car unlocked and your keys are outside the car and like you're in the, like, it doesn't auto lock. My fucking 13-year-old Ford Focus had that feature. So like I get in this habit now where I get out of the car, I press lock the door on my door, close the door, get my fob out, and press lock again. And then sometimes at night, if I don't remember if I've did it or not, because I've left my car open all night many times, like it's become another habit to like lock my car. So those are the things that I have to absolutely do, or I feel a little weird.
So one of mine is very similar to yours. I would say like mine has changed over a little bit because for the longest time, I would just like wake up and eat food and stream. That was like
Just
my
instantly,
life
yeah.
forever. And over the last, year, I've been kind of streaming and doing shit when I want to. I've been going out a lot. So every day now, I'll wake up, I have a shower, and then I just leave the house and I just go for a drive. So I just go for a drive, and I usually either go get sushi between noon and 1, or if I'm just sushied out, I'll go to like Subway or
Just need to be somewhere
usually
not
Subway.
home.
So I just go and get food, and I never really eat. If I'm not eating sushi, I eat there. But usually, if I'm getting Subway and stuff, I just go in, eat it in my car. And that's like my time. That's my unwind time. Every day in the early day. So between noon and 2, I am listening to all my MMA news, movie news. That's pretty much it. It's just strictly movie and MMA, and I just listen to all my favorite YouTubers and podcasts, and I eat, and that's pretty much it. Lately, I've been back in the gym, so I've just been eating and going to the gym and then coming home. But then for night, I'm very similar to Adam. So when I shut down the computer and I go upstairs, Kayla is usually in bed before me if she has to work. So she works tomorrow. So like when I'm done this, I'll go upstairs. Thor sometimes is in our bedroom, but tonight he's upstairs in the living room. So what I do is I do the same thing Adam does, is I go to all the doors and I make sure all the doors are locked. And I always check the back patio for some reason. I'll turn the back patio light on. I'll look outside. I don't know why,
Yeah, I
but
do
I
it
just
too.
do. And then I just turn off the back patio light. And then I go upstairs into the security room and I look at all the security cameras and I literally stand there and I'll watch them for about 15 to 30 seconds. I don't know why. It's like I'm just like scouting out my outside house. I don't know why I do this, but I do. I just stand there, I look at it, and then that's it. And then I'll go into bed. I'll lay down. I'll go on my phone. I'll turn on the alarm because it's all done on the phone. And I'll double check to make sure all the doors are locked on my phone as well, because my phone can lock the 2 main doors of my house. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure all the doors are locked. Turn off all the lights. Turn down the heat to like 17 degrees to make sure it's nice and cool. And then I just go to bed. If the dog is in the bedroom, I open up my bedroom door and I say, Thor, come on. Thor gets up slowly because he's half asleep. He jumps off the bed. I walk him to the top of the stairs. I smother him with kisses for like 10, 15 seconds. Give him a little pat on the ass. Tell him to go downstairs. Close the baby gate, even though we don't have a baby, dog gate. And then I go into bed, and that's when I check the alarm, make sure the alarm's on, or turn it on. And that's pretty much it. That's
the show.
It's like a ritual. It's like
Yeah, it becomes
if
a
I
ritual.
and I do it all in a certain order. So like I don't. It's very weird. It's like almost OCD the way I do things. Like and I feel it's that exact thing that the question was asking is I feel off if I do it either in a different order or I don't do it. Period.
Yeah.
So like I'll go to bed. Like say I didn't check the back patio or I didn't check the garage door to make sure it's locked. I'll be in bed and I'll sit there and just think about did I do even if I can't remember doing, I'm like, did I fucking do that? And then I'll get up and I'll go like, and I'm mad at myself. I'm like, fuck. And I'll go downstairs and then of course I've done it and I'm like, oh, okay, I did it. And then I'll go and go back. Same thing if I leave the house, like I'll close the garage door and I have like the garage door opener on the visor of my car. I'll leave the house and I'll drive down 2 blocks and I'll go, did I close the garage door? And I'm like, fuck. And then I'll drive all the way back home and I'll basically get to the point where I can see my garage. I'm like, yeah, okay, I closed it. And then I'll fucking leave. So it's very weird. Yeah.
I've done that with
Weird.
locking the front door after leaving the house. Like it's such a like instinctual thing to just turn around and lock the door that sometimes I don't even register that I've done it. And then I
Yeah.
get in the car, and I did that today, and I was like, did I lock the
Yeah.
door? And then you have to like get out. Sometimes I'll be halfway down the street, and I'll reverse back into my driveway, get out, check. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, and then get back in the car and take off. But yeah, it becomes ritualistic for sure. Two random things that mean nothing to most people. One, don't eat lettuce for a while if you're in the States, because holy fucking E. coli. Coming to like producers in Kansas. So if you're going to restaurants and shit and you don't know where
Where's this
that's
coming from? What is Panic's thing? Do we do to skip
we
Panic?
had Panic's thing. He did he was talking about his lemon water and shit.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
yeah,
I
that's
wanna
right.
say-
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. That's
So
right,
yeah,
sorry.
that started there, and then we started getting the first cases of it up here in Canada from places that were largely delivered to from the States,
Well, it's from Yuma, Arizona.
Romaine
Location.
specifically. And normally that's not a huge thing. It's just romaine, but it's not a huge thing. But this is actually this is probably the biggest in my recollection of E. coli outbreak, and several people just straight up died from it this time around. So, even though like especially now that it popped up in Canada in a couple of spots, personally, unless you
I
are
touch it.
absolutely desperate to get your hands on some romaine lettuce, don't fucking touch the romaine lettuce for a while. Just let that bad boy go. There are better
Eat
better
romaine
leafy
lettuce just because you told me not to.
there are better leafy greens to eat anyway, so just just avoid romaine lettuce for sure. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was fuck the Toronto Raptors. I want to shout that out because for a couple reasons. One, they fired their coach today.
Mhm.
I watched that happen live, sitting in a Boston Pizza, and I looked up at the TV and I went, "Wait a minute, are you serious?" And I had to do a double take. Now I knew there was a possibility it was coming because they've gotten swept 3 times in a row by LeBron in the playoffs now, second round. But here's the thing: Dwayne Casey is the most successful coach the team's ever had. Not only that, ironically, he's likely going to win, or already has, Coach of the Year.
He won Coach of the Year 2 days ago.
Yes, so 48 hours ago, he wins Coach of the Year. 48 hours later, Toronto Raptors fire him because they're looking for a scapegoat. And here's my hot take on it. A lot of people want to blame Casey because they think that his offensive playbook is garbage. Here's my take on it. Lowry and DeRozan are lazy motherfuckers that call it in. They've got contracts that are too long. They are very good basketball players, but they get into the playoffs and they suck a dick. They're very good, but they're not a team leader. Neither of them are team leaders, but they're in team leading roles. None of them have the fire in them. You watch them play basketball in the playoffs, and it looks like they don't even care if they win or not. Then you watch like LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant or like anyone else that lead like shit. Even Dirk Nowitzki looks like he wants to fucking win games for fuck's
Where's this
sake.
coming? Adam, where's this coming from? Is
'Cause
this
I
more
saw it.
tech support?
I saw it. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
man.
This is
We're
why
over
are
3
we-
hours deep
this
in
is
this
my own.
podcast, and
This
I
is
gotta
my
wake up
own.
in 6 hours,
I'm screaming.
motherfucker.
Dude,
I'm
I got
screaming into
a
the
flight.
void.
I got a flight
I'm
at 7
screaming into the
a.m.
void right now.
All
Got a
right,
flight
scream
at
next
7
week.
a.m.
Just fuck that shit. Fuck
The
Toronto
flight
and your
at 7
lazy
a.m.
ass playing. Fuck you for
randomly
firing
brings out lettuce and LeBron.
Dwayne
Toronto.
Casey.
Adam,
Sign
did you
us
not
out,
get out
damn
much?
it.
I just had to get that. Because I don't have any. Like Gabs doesn't know anything about sports, so I have to scream this into the void, and then I'll have like 3 comments on YouTube that I can go to. So yeah, shout outs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this week of the Technical Alpha Podcast. I'm not going to edit this tonight because I feel like I'm going to die. So I'm going to get in the shower and then I'm going to die in bed. And then if I feel up to it, I'll edit it tomorrow or whenever I feel like it, because that's how it's going to go. So whenever you hear this, that's when you're going to hear it. Let's head over to that end screen, and I've got to pull up the website over here because we have Will, who had just come in on that hot fire $100 tier.
Damn.
Making it happen. Oh, I see that the website is not updating again. Patreon has one of the most infuriating APIs of all time, where you have to refresh this token like every 14 minutes. Otherwise, which begs the question, why do people even have access to it in the first place? So I'm just going to toss your name in here anyway. Shoutouts to Jetrix, Postal Panda, Chico, Derek P, Naily, Adam B, Jamaican J, Jorbach Toasteel, Matthew M, and Will getting in on the $100 tier. Shit, I don't even know how many of these people are still in this anymore if this hasn't been updated. So I'm going to have to like go and sort that out. And then maybe I'm just going to have to remove this freaking Patreon producers wall unless we find out a way to fix that shit, because that is infuriating. Either way, bless you all. You're keeping us going. You're keeping us afloat, and we love you for it.
Yep.
We will be... oh, not Will. It was Martin. Sorry. I got you. Oh my god, I'm a fucking asshole.
Go to sleep, Adam.
I need to go to
A
bed.
little lettuce, okay, Adam?
I gotta get off the lettuce. I gotta get off the romaine. I gotta lay off the romaine. I'm so sorry, Martin. Martin is on the 100 tip. Not Will. Fuck you, Will.
Wow, that got aggressive.
Martin is on the 100 tip. I got you, bro. We pulled it back just in time. I got you, bro. No, I love both of you. I'm a bag of hammers. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Until I see you guys, and we see you next week, and everything else, and fucking A. Technical Alpha. Peace.
Bye.